You are now watching Cherry Coke with Coach.
Welcome, everybody, to the 10th episode of Cherry Coke with Coach. Thank you for joining us again. If you're here for the 10th time, thank you. Well, it'll be 9th time on video, 10th time audio. Thank you. Go ahead and share, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook now, and then Spotify and YouTube. And I guess I haven't noticed, we've had it for probably 3 episodes now. Sammy Gonzalez was the one that created my little intro there. So I never gave him a shout out, but we'll give a shout out to good old Sammy Gonzalez for that. So once again, thank you for watching. If you notice, I finally have people joining me. So Kip's back this week. What's new, Kip?
Oh, busy week. 3 track meets, junior high track meets, and almost another high school one. Then baseball starts up, and we're gonna talk some softball here today. So, and we're finally getting some rain, so we could use that at least. Well, soft grass.
We've had enough. But we can stop. We had some tornado action going on. Nothing hit here, but probably 30, 40 minutes away.
Yep. Yeah. Minden. So we got a couple radio connections with a couple teachers being from
there.
That area. Mr. Coffey's parents live up there, and their house is fine. And Mr. Willie Van, his house is fine. But I know a lot of people in Minden didn't end up.
Yeah, it almost looked like the whole town was.
Yep, thoughts and prayers with them. So.
Destructed. You got 2 track meets this week?
We just got one. We go to Glenwood on Friday, then our following Monday is our conference meet where we finish up. And we get to host that here.
3 weeks left, and we're done. Yeah. So, all right. So we'll move on. To join us for today. We're switching it up. We'll have him join us for the local flair topics we have before we get into the conversation with him. But we have our assistant wrestling and softball. He's a weights teacher. Another one in Red Oak that just happens to be from Denison. Briarcliff grad?
Let's say Morningside.
Morningside grad. We have Alec Ruskell with us today. Welcome.
Thank you.
Did you coach at Briarcliff?
I went to Briarcliff, but with how things ended, I don't claim it.
You don't claim that? Yeah. And just go with the ending situation. It was Morningside?
Yeah, got my master's from Morningside, so we'll say Morningside.
Yeah, it's, I don't ever say I went to DMAC anymore. I graduated from Iowa State. Who cares about DMAC anymore? So, well, good to have you with us. We're going to talk some local sports and draft and playoffs, and then we'll get into some other topics we have for Coach with softball and weightlifting and all that fun jazz. So, local sports-wise, junior high track. Kip, you are in charge of that. What is going on with junior high track?
We just had about half our season in 1 week. We had a meet up in Underwood. It was pretty windy, but we did pretty well. It's kind of some smaller teams, Underwood, Woodbine, Beaver Valley, kind of more our size teams, and 4th, 5th out of 8, so competed real well. Distance med, Hayden Hebrew continued strong season. Sawyer Purdue swept the shot put and discus, so he's been having a good year as just a 7th grader. That's a combined 7th, 8th grade meet as one team, so he performed well. Tuesday went down the Shan. It's always interesting because that's a co-ed meet, so there's teenage boys and teenage girls and lots of distractions.
From those co-ed meets, they're just no good.
Just so long. Just nothing good.
Competed well for the most part. Then Thursday had our home meet. Competed well, considered the wind, and it being their 3rd meet of the week, and they're only 13, 14-year-olds. So happy with how we did. So we got to we're fine-tuning things and trying to peak coming up here in a week.
But I tried to get Drevin Poe his 100, and he got a 99 feet 11 inches, and I was pulling that tape, and I'm like, I can get it. I couldn't get. I pulled it enough to get that half-inch more.
Yep.
So
Yeah, he's had a good year, kind of a spring. If he went out last year, just didn't really have a ton of success, but having more this year, and you might not have heard, we had our throwers all run the 100. He got 6th place. Like, he legit placed and got points and got a ribbon in the 100. So
he got 6th.
You're cooking for a big boy. Yep. I did have some kids Friday morning complaining to me that Coach Ruskell's too hard on him in the weight room, and they can't perform as well on track because of weightlifting.
Yep. Before class even started, just hey, we can skip legs, right? Because we have a track meet today. No.
No,
They're
you'll
like,
be
if
fine.
I don't do good, I'm gonna blame you.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, when you do great, blame me.
You know, maybe adjust the weight. Maybe I don't know. You can still do all the movements.
All body work.
Yeah,
It was Tabata. All body weight workouts. It was just high intensity stuff. It was just getting heart rate going.
get the muscle, get the blood flowing. You know, it's
If you're consistent before that, then it shouldn't be a shock to the
yeah.
system. So.
If you're in there and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, just another day. I mean, and guess what? You can stretch. That usually helps you perform. So
In recovery?
Well, that's what I told him. I was like, you have seminar, and then you have like an hour before anything with the track. If you can't recover in that time, we have a different issue entirely than you being too sore from a workout.
And guess what? It's a home meet, so come on in and roll out before you leave the school to go down the track. So plenty of options. So there's junior high track. Only know much about the boys. The girls are with Coach
Allison.
Coach Wolf. So they're competing. I see pictures and hear Coach Allison talk good things about the girls and what they're doing. Girls golf, on the other hand, I noticed they're number 2 in Hawkeye 10 and number 5 in Class 2A on varsity bound. They got 6 first place finishes and 1 fourth place at a 17-team tournament. And then the girls, too, they have 2 weeks left. They got to meet on 4:30 and then conference on 5/6. And then regionals are 5:10 or 5:15. And they're going to golf at Cedar Point Golf Course in Boone. I've golfed there before. It's an older front 9, tight, old trees, and then when they get to the back 9, it'll open up more bunkers and hazards. I don't know why they don't golf at Hunter Creek. That's a way better course than Boone, but whatever. I am who I am. But one thing I did notice, the girls, they got 2 juniors and 4 sophomores, so the whole team's coming back. So they've been playing pretty well, golf-wise, girls-wise. Bryn Canals, hey, I was close. Averaging 49.27 and Addie Leidens a 49. The other girls are about 50 to 60. Boys golf, they're number 40 on varsity bound out of 93. They've had a first place, 4 second place, 2 third, and a 5th and 10th place finish. They got 3 meets left. Their regional is going to be on 5/8 at Deer Run, I-35. They'll have DMC, Clarinda, Ogden, Shan, Panorama, Southwest Valley there. No, I'm just too quick for Kip.
I'm just looking for golf.
It wasn't on there.
Misses for a week. And Weston Kaus, a freshman, and Carson Roeder, another freshman, are leading the team they're shooting 46 and 47 on average. Beeson and Menson are shooting 47, 49. Hunter Jarrett's at 53, and Old Baz Clear's rounding out the varsity with a 62. So they got a couple weeks left to golf. I know they golf at our place a lot, which is probably pretty nice. We got a kind of nice course over here. Speaking of golf, we have the Booster Club tournament this weekend. Teams better look out because me and Ruskell team are coming for throats.
We'll win it this year.
So go ahead and write that down.
Who's going to make your putts?
Doesn't matter.
Hey, we'll figure it out.
Drive the green every time. You can
Well,
2-putt for birdie.
I can pitch us close. You know I got that. I'm around the grain with those wedges. I can not chip it in. I also purchased mics that hook up to my phone now.
Ooh.
So we might have possibly maybe a play hole 3 with Coach or something and video us playing hole 3 or something.
That's a whole lot of cussing.
Well, I'll have to edit that week's video, but no, it'll be a fun golf tournament. Speaking of boys golf team members, Cyrus Menson will be golfing with me and Coach Ruskell and then his buddy Coop. So just go ahead and pencil us in for pen. Use pen. Go ahead and use pen and write us in as victors. So
You know there's going to be some guy that's like 62 that gets to hit from the Reds.
Hey,
And is just going to...
I'm close to 62,
Plays it
so
every
I'll
day.
play from the Reds.
you are sitting across from the long drive champion last year and the runner-up next to you.
Yeah.
Because he was only like half a yard behind me.
So we're bringing the distance. I know that. It's not going to take us long to get to the hole.
I might just bring my putter and not leave the rest of my clubs in.
Hey,
Know your role.
we just got a bunch of guys that are going to try and hit the tar out of the ball, and we'll see what shakes out. But so the golf team, boys and girls soccer, they're rounding out. Boys have 4 games left. They have Riverside, at Creston, Underwood, and at Carroll. They had a battle with Atlantic about a week ago. Lost 3-1. Stats-wise, Ty Jenkins has 2 goals. Reese Montgomery has 2 goals. And the Rodriguez brothers, Kevin and Zaire, they both have 2 assists each. So that's about what I know about soccer. And then the girls' soccer team, they have 2 games left. They're going to play the Riverside and then at Carroll. Both teams are looking for their first win, so they got a few opportunities left to knock it out. I don't know much about soccer, so we'll just leave it at that.
Is it like hockey? So the person that gets the assist is the person that passes to the person that passes as well.
Yeah,
Is it the
I
same
think
thing, or
I
is
think
it-
you get like double assist or I don't know. I don't know how many people get an assist on one goal, but it's
Yeah.
not like basketball where it's here.
Yeah.
You know, they did talk about basketball changing the rule to where if you pass the ball, I pass it to Kip and he gets fouled on the layup and then he makes both free throws, still getting the assist for it. But
I'm with that.
I'm like, hey, stats would go up a little bit more. You know, if people might pass. No, we're still gonna pass.
I was all about rebounds and assists. So.
Yeah, do rebound, pass it out to the guy who can
Yeah.
shoot,
Yeah.
and get her done.
You've heard of like 3 and D? I was 3 and no D.
Just cherry picking the corner.
Yeah, hey, I'm right here. I'm right here. Just call me Smoothie. Boys and girls tennis. I looked at varsity bound and I tried to decipher what it means. I don't know. Tristan did help me out the other day and he explained it to me that we were pretty close to right. But the boys they've won 3 and they've lost 7. Conference is 4, and then girls they've won 3, lost 5, and their conference is on 5-1. Let's get into track. I know a little bit about what's going on there. Girls track. They got Atlantic Monday, Shan for conference on 5-2, and then we go to trainer for districts or state qualifier at 5-9. Going into the district qualifier right now, Jocelyn O'Neill is 3rd in the 200. You got to finish top 2 or on time. Jocelyn's a 27.29, which is 3rd in the district, behind a 26.18 and a 25. Her long jump comes in at 3rd. She's about 3 inches away from 2nd place. Her 400, it comes in at 3rd. And then their sprint med is 2nd in the district with a 1. Sprint med is a 1, 100, a 100, a 200, and then a 400. It's ran by, Carly Jenkins, Marley Gray, Keely Jones, and Jocelyn O'Neill. The first place is 152, so they're 2 seconds behind that, and the 3rd place is 156, so they're 2 seconds ahead of that. So they're sitting pretty good where they could possibly make state with that. If they run what they're supposed to run.
Keely's got to come back too.
And she hurt, so I don't know who slides in for that.
It's like Amber Ray's been
Amber Ray's there.
running for him. Natalie Johnson's been there.
Get the right teams. And you got to think at the state qualifier, you're going to have that adrenaline going. It'll help you compete a little more. So that's what the girls have. So looks like Jocelyn O'Neill in the long jump, 200, 400, and then the sprint med have opportunities to go to state. And we'll update you on that after 5-9. We'll probably talk again a little more in depth next week about who's all around going to be there. Boys track is looking about the same. District, Sifford for the 100s in 4th place. Sifford's 5th in the 200. He runs the 100. In front of him is Colin from Elwood from Trainer, 11:02, and some guy from MVAOCOU, Grass. He runs 11:00. I know the Colin one was kind of wind aided. I think between 11:05 and 11:10 is gonna qualify you in that. The 200, like I say, he ran a 23. The top end guys are Graham from Shan with the 22.71, Dvorak from Missouri Valley at 22.75, Sternberg from Avoca with the 22.91, and Colin with the 22.91 as well. I don't think Colin will run it because you only get 4 events, so I think he'll run the 100, and then they'll do 3 relays.
4x1 sprint med, and 4x2 probably.
Yeah, 4x1, 4x2, and sprint med. And then
I guess,
run
their relay teams are.
Then he'll run the 1. Graham will probably run the 2 because he's number 1 of the 2, but then he'll run those 3 relays.
Yeah.
Rozzy will run the 4 and then run the relays. So they're going to get after it. But that's all we got. So one of our relays can run a good time. And I looked at top 5. We weren't top 5 in anything for the district relay wise. It kind of shows. We have too many athletes that aren't going out for track. We have plenty of athletes in this building. I did talk to Adam this weekend. We went on a trip to Minnesota Moorhead, and we talked about, you guys all should go out next year. And, if you guys are healthy, go out. Like him and Brett and Brody and Tyler Myers. And, there's a whole list of kids. Nolan come throw. And there's enough athletes that we're bringing back that we could have a darn good track team. But that's what's hurting us is not having the athletes out for track.
Kind of shows you just the athletes you had last year.
Yeah.
That you were able to do a couple relays and get some solos. And
Well, and look at
the
success they also had in other sports. Baseball, one of the best years they've ever had. Football, we didn't get scored on for 4 weeks. I mean, the core of those kids that are playing those sports are the ones that are out for track.
What was it, 119 to 0? Score differential, something?
167 to 0.
Even better.
Yeah. We take care of business for a little bit there. Little bit. So, yeah, run track. I saw a video today on TikTok or one of those ones. It was a kid that said, my coach told me to run track, and the guy runs like a fullback dive, and he's just cooking down the field. And all of a sudden, you just see this dude come out of nowhere and run it down and catch him. I wonder if the running back ran track and that DB didn't ran track because he hawked him.
Yeah. Well, I'm just seeing, kind of bringing it back to football, like ADM, Brevin Dahl going to Iowa.
Aiden Flora.
They're on the 4x1 team. Cade Sears is going to SDSU. He's on the 4x1 team. So.
Yeah, I was looking at the 100-meter dash for conference. Cade Sears, so it'd be Harlan, he runs a 10.73. And Sorensen, who's a Mike linebacker, ran a 10.96.
Jesus.
Sideline to sideline.
And didn't, I think ADM ran like a 41, 42?
Yeah, they won it, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, they just smoked everybody.
Yeah.
But you have 2 Division I football players on the same team. That would be pretty solid. Yeah, speaking of, I forgot to mention on our trip, I like to look at football stadiums and stuff and basketball courts. And we were at Minnesota Moorhead. We were all Concordia University is like literally like 2 blocks away, so I went and looked at their stuff too. But I just went in their gym and like we're looking around, like looked at all their trophies and stuff, and like, oh, there's their football field. So I opened the door, went out there, walked around, looked at it, went to the door. Door is locked. And I'm looking around like, what am I supposed to do? So I look, it's completely fenced in, like a whole 5 city blocks. I'm like, there's a football field, practice fields, softball, baseball. There's no way to get out. Like I'm pulling on, nobody's even in the building. Like I told Adam and I was like, how'd you even get in? Like they were all having to type in codes to get in. I was like, I don't know, the door's unlocked. But so I had to jump a fence at 41 years old this Saturday. I still got it. I was walking around the building like hoping all these cars drive by. We're not going to call the cops, but I jumped a fence this weekend.
There's this guy on TikTok. His thing is like going to campuses and like trying to walk into there, see if he can get onto the field or get into the basketball court. So it just reminds me of that. Like,
oh yeah,
it's kind of his thing. They almost like universities like, oh, if you're coming here, we'll just let you in. Like,
yeah. Well,
he got in, couldn't get out.
See, that's all these guys, they can do those videos now. Like I was doing that like 20 years ago, 25. Just check my Facebook. There's pictures of me at Ohio State at like midnight, pitch black, but we're standing in the middle of the field like excited because we found that one door that was unlocked. University of Tennessee, like all of them. But yeah, it's I have an addiction, and sometimes I get locked into places or locked out, one of the two. So yeah, that was a good time.
How was the field?
It was for a Division II. It was kind of a nice Class 4A, 5A field in Iowa. I mean, Valley's is bigger than theirs. Morning's side, their high school, the field there is bigger in Sioux Falls, Sioux City. So it was nice. I mean, it was cool how it kind of butted up to the building, and then they kind of blocked the wind and everything if it was coming from the north.
Is that Concordia?
Yeah, Concordia. No. That was Minnesota Moorhead. University of Minnesota State Moorhead. The Dragons.
Concordia, one of the 72 Concordia universities.
Yeah, the Cobbers. Yeah, so we can go back. I guess people can't see me, but I was standing right there. That's where I jumped the fence. You go back a picture to that one. Go back. I used the building to help me. I'll have to pull that picture out so people can see. So mark that time when I'm walking around. But yeah, that was my fun weekend. But yeah, so that's what we have for local sports. Let's get into the one thing that we probably, all three of us, don't really care about.
NBA playoffs?
NBA playoffs. We'll knock that out quick. I lied. Well, first, once again, I don't think any of us watch it. So the conversation's going to be really quick. I'm still going with the Nuggets. The Sixers are going to break my heart. And my last week's prediction of we're going to have series done was wrong because I forgot the NBA is all about money. So all these series are probably going to go to Game 7. So it's going to be 2 more weeks of the first round. And right now we have OKC is up 3-0 over the Pelicans. The Mavs are up 2-1 on the Clippers. The Wolves are up 3-0 on the Suns. The Nuggets should finish it. They're up 3-1 on the Lakers.
Yeah. It was like game 1, they had like a 20-point lead,
and then
like
they
a 30,
blew
and
it.
then like a 17. Last night they were up by like 20 going into the fourth, and I was like, oh, here we go.
Well, the NBA can't have LeBron go out too quick. The Celtics are up 2-1 on the Heat. The Magic and Cavs are tied at 2-2. The Pacers are up 2-1 on the Bucks, and the Knicks are up 2-1 on the Sixers. Anybody have any predictions, surprises, anything they got worth a dang on this?
Like,
So is the-
Jimmy Butler to come back.
Jimmy Butler's a dog.
So it was the first time like Kevin Durant and LeBron were both down 3-0
What?
in the history. Like,
If you look at like the Clippers and the Suns, like Clippers are like Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Russell Westbrook. Suns are Devin Booker and KD, and they have another kind of big star, but it's those two. They're losing. Like, stop building nothing but stars. Like, it barely works. It works occasionally. Like, it worked with the Golden State Warriors because those guys were not stars. They just all do one thing very good.
But they were young still.
And they were young.
They're
Look,
getting old.
The number 1 team right now, OKC, they're like the youngest roster in the NBA, I think. Plus, they have like 3 number 1 picks next year.
Yeah.
Like, they have like the number 1 potentially after the lotto, plus like the 5 or something. Like, they're going to be loaded. And like, build young, build role players.
Yeah, LeBron and like you said, LeBron and Durant, they're old. They're just retire. It's you've had a good run. LeBron's got to wait for his son Bronny first. You know they got to play in the league together, make that first father son field goal or something. But
yeah, I think Anthony Edwards having a big series. Kind of Minnesota's halfway close. I've been to a couple of games. AJ Green out of UNI is playing on the Bucks. See some minutes. Halliburton from Iowa State made a game winner for the Pacers.
He's terrible.
I saw a funny video of Jason Williams, white chocolate. You guys might probably too young for him, but
I know of him.
Dude can handle the rock. But I guess he was coaching some team down in Florida. And it was an all-star game, and he had Anthony Edwards on the team. And he's like, I didn't know nothing about the team I had. They just said you're coaching this team. And the camp director, like a minute into the game, came and said, "Why is it number 2 in the game?" He's like, "Why is he supposed to be good?" He's like, "He's the number 1 player in the country." And Jason was like, "I called timeout instantly and said, get him in the game." So yeah, those camps you just see so many good talent. I don't know anybody in the league anymore because all the ones that I do know should or are retiring right now. So, well, let's get off the NBA. Who cares, right? About this, I was gone all weekend, so I told these guys they had to do all the research because, I didn't pay attention as much. I do know my Eagles had probably one of the top drafts out of any team. There's a few teams that made some big moves. The big topics I have are the biggest one is what are you doing?
Joke of a program.
And then I love how the Bears have no faith in Caleb Williams, so let's draft a punter in the 4th round to prepare to punt a lot. But yeah,
1 of 5 picks.
I think
it's a punter.
the craziest thing is taking Penix Jr. with the 8th pick in the draft. This is the Atlanta Falcons after just signing Kirk Cousins. Like what is
for the biggest amount of money? Like it'd be different if they signed with like a 1-year deal. No, they signed with a 4-year, $150 million or whatever it was.
100
Like,
guaranteed.
what do you guys think their thinking is around that pick? I thought about it last night and this morning, and I'm like, I don't know why they would make that pick.
I think they're saying they're kind of planning for the future, but like, you plan on him getting hurt. I mean, Kirk Cousins is coming off an injury. That's my only thought.
Is he going to be good? He had an Achilles too, right?
Yeah.
So,
He was out almost all last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, and like Penix is like 24, so he's kind of an older college quarterback.
by the time Cousins
he's been
is
around.
out of his contract and Penix is up, Penix is going to
30.
be like done.
yeah, they're gonna have to pick up his 5th year option.
Well, I guess we'll retire.
Or Cousins has a couple good years. They trade him away to a quarterback needy team because now they've developed. It's
There is,
probably the
like-
thought process, but
There's really no quarterbacks next year in the draft.
you
So-
kind of hear they needed pass rusher. And every defensive player was available still.
Yeah, I that just was mind-boggling how they just trade that pick. I don't know. It's screwy when teams do stuff like that. I don't get it.
There's stuff on the internet like the owner's talking to the GM right away. He's probably explaining why
he
he
probably
just
has
picked
to.
a guy when they find a quarterback. And
It's kind of like a draft day kind of thing.
Yeah, they had to do a lot of
like, hold on,
spinning.
like, what do you got going on here?
I watched that over the weekend.
It's going to make a great documentary one day. This is why the Falcons are just the worst franchise ever.
I think the Steelers and the Chiefs both had good drafts. The Chiefs they didn't get anybody like crazy. They got that Worthy from Texas. Dude's a speedster. But they got what they needed. At Hayden, the Hayden kid from Tennessee, he was I think their 6th round pick. That dude can play. And then Kingsley, not even going to try and say it, Suamatate from BYU. That dude is a monster. He's a mountain of a human being. So the Chiefs did what they needed to do. 6'5". Same with the Steelers. Steelers went and got 3 linemen. They got Logan Lee from Iowa. He was one that he got in trouble, didn't he? Is he the gambling guy?
No, Shane.
Okay. And then they also got Roman Wilson from Michigan, the wide receiver. So those are the 3 teams I would say, just off the top, that I thought did the best in the draft. You guys, what do you guys think for the best draft?
I thought the Rams kind of did a decent job. They got 2 defensive linemen. I mean, you got to replace Aaron Donald.
You got to get 3 of them then.
So they got Jared Verse and Jared Fisk. Then they got Blake Corum and Cameron Kitchen. So kind of got some defensive help. I didn't mind the Packers draft. I mean, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I had no idea who their offensive tackle was when they picked them. I was holding out for Cooper DeJean. And they didn't go. I'm like,
the Eagles literally, right when the Eagles traded up, I was like, damn, they're going to take Cooper. Take Cooper. Then Packers trade away their pick. I was like, yeah, they wanted Cooper. Like, dang
They
it.
get him now.
they give them some. They got Edger and Cooper. They get decent, good
They're still with
linebacker
Cooper.
and good safety. I thought Carolina's wasn't bad. Got a good receiver, Xavier Leggett. He's got the most Southern Cajun voice ever.
I never heard him talk. And then I heard his interview. I'm like,
Talk more.
It's like the assistant coach off of Waterboy.
literally.
Then they got is it Jonathan Brooks from Texas and Jatavian Sanders. So young quarterback could be a young offensive core from Carolina.
Problem is they don't have an O-line. They didn't, unless they picked up free agents.
Yeah.
But like, that was why Young struggled because their O-line was terrible. And then you didn't pick. I think they drafted one in like the 7th round or something like that. It's like, all right.
The Bears did all right. Lions did all right. I think Vikings. I thought they had a good one with
Vikings
J.J.
was
McCarthy,
solid.
Dawson.
It'll be interesting to see how J.J. McCarthy transfers to the NFL.
I think he's ready. Like, in terms of, skill-wise, I had him as, like, my number 5 quarterback. But, like, if you watch him play, he doesn't do anything, like, fancy or crazy, and his, form is good. Like, I'd imagine he grew up football. Everyone did, obviously, but, like, he looks probably the most ready. He might not have the most skill out of any of the quarterbacks, but most ready-wise for the NFL, I think he's fine. It's just a matter of if Vikings do right with him.
Yeah, got to use him. All you got to do is throw it out.
Yeah.
And as a
Plenty of weapons.
Let old boy go get it.
as a Packers fan, like they kind of got that edge in the draft. I feel like because they're really good at developing. And I was just going to be like, dang, like everybody else in the division's kind of figuring out and having good drafts too. Lions had a good draft last year. They just added to their defense because they know they got to cover all these receivers in the division now. So we're happy where all your Missouri Tigers went.
Yeah, I mean, we had, what did we have? 2, 4, 6 drafted, so it was a good day good weekend for the Mizzou. Top one was drafted Arizona 27th, Darius Robinson, D-line. But Missouri really didn't have anybody that was like freakishly good.
Outside of Darius, like Darius was number 2 D lineman or something like that. But
Other than that, I mean,
Straw or whatever.
Rackstraw, he's solid, but he's not even top 5 corner really.
he does
Where
what
he
he
goes
does
60s
very
first.
well.
None of them are out there. There ain't no Chase Daniels or anything or Blaine Gabbert. You know, they're just solid players. Iowa State and UNI, where we have TJ Tampa from Iowa State, Troy Taylor and Logan Lee, and then UNI had Christian Boyd.
Yeah, 199. He was the Tom Brady pick. He ended up going to the Saints.
I'm surprised he lasted
we
long.
got Kool-Aid and McKinstry,
And
Spencer Rattler, and Christian Boyd.
Michigan had 13 guys drafted. Texas had 11. Bama, Florida State, and Washington had 10. Georgia, Oregon, and Penn State had 8. Pretty much rounds it out. Missouri had 6, so they're right up there. SEC, they had 6 teams up on that list that had at least 5 drafted. Big 12 had 0.
Well, there's only like 2 teams in the Big 12 now, so.
Yeah, because Texas, they were on that list, but they're SEC now.
Who is the Big 12 now? Is it
Big Ten had 4. I was going to ask you guys, who do you think is the team that has the most draft picks of all time? Most players drafted from their college of all time.
College?
Total, yeah.
Imagine like USC.
I was going to say like Notre Dame.
It was Notre Dame. Notre Dame has 532 and USC has 5.
All through the.
I looked up. Iowa has 200. Iowa State has 100. And you and I, that's where old Kip went to school.
Probably like 50.
24.
24.
23 to the NFL and 1 to the AFL. Yeah. Do you know who their top draft pick of all time is?
Was it Penning or was it Pop?
It was Penner.
Penner, yeah.
Yeah, 2022 went 19th. That was their highest draft pick. So.
You got Wisconsin on there?
No, I forgot to look at the Badgers. We can look it up. That was from 24/7. Total draft picks from Wisconsin.
Well, Kip's looking that up. Kip said he didn't hate or love
305.
What Iowa have?
2.
Score 1 for the Dubs.
You almost have more than Iowa.
Don't even bother.
You do. You have more than Iowa and Iowa State combined.
Wait, how much does Nebraska have?
368.
Damn. Oh yeah, I mean the '90s was Nebraska. So never mind. Yeah. No.
I don't think they had one, but I saw somewhere they didn't have a draft pick this year.
Who? Wisconsin?
Nebraska.
Oh, Nebraska.
No, Wisconsin had 3 only.
Probably defensive guys.
It was Braylon Allen,
Maybe a lineman.
Tanner Bordolini, and one of their D linemen.
A running back and an offense lineman. Shocker.
Yeah.
That adds up. The math's there.
Kip, you said you didn't love the Packers. I personally, also a Packers fan. I love the Packers draft pick. Like, obviously.
I just didn't know who they were. So
it was like, this is like, I nerd out. I put aside the video games during NFL draft, and I like scout. Like I usually do top 20 at each position, and I scout and everything. And like Edgerrin Cooper was my number 2 linebacker. Javon Bullard was my number 3 safety. Marshawn Lloyd was my number. Jacob Monk was my number 2 interior lineman. So like, but with that being said, Edgerrin Cooper, Javon Bullard, they do exactly what the Packers want them to do. Mm-hmm. So the other guys that were ahead of them ranked do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. These guys are specialists in what they do, and it's exactly what the Packers need. So like, the only questionable one was I wouldn't have gone Marshawn Lloyd. I would have gone a different running back. I mean, they needed the position eventually.
Running backs are a dime a dozen nowadays.
Yeah.
I just hadn't watched a lot of Arizona football, so I'm like...
Oh, the dude's a stud, and he's played every position.
Yeah. And I can't get mad that they're trying to protect Jordan Love for the next 10 years. So I'm like,
him, Jordan Morgan, and Jacob Monk both played all 3 positions at some point in college. Like, Jacob Monk started at center, guard, and tackle for, like, a season. And Jordan Morgan was rotated between guard tackle, played like as a freshman, like backup.
King was just kind of a flyer. Sometimes he does. Like 2 years ago, he was a pretty high prospect.
Yeah.
They're talking him first round, and now he's got him in the 7th. So.
Like if you can reel him in, he's elite. But he just kind of
inconsistent tape.
Yeah.
And some random quarterback that was flinging around. It was nice to have a good backup.
Packers, I mean, they just had holes to fill. I mean, they had a pretty good season last year. Love is going to be quarterback. Future for them.
So hopefully it's not a 1 year wonder. But
I think he'll be all right.
I was high on, like a Packers fan everywhere were so mad when he got drafted. I was high on him, and I was like, yeah, that's the replacement. They're giving him the Rodgers treatment. The dude's good. And then like once it was his year to take over, I was all in. Like, season of love. For sure. And like everybody, like my brother, biggest love hater, and he's still just like, I'm still not sure. It's like, dude was a number 4 quarterback in the league last year.
Yeah, I like him. He makes good decisions. He's mobile. He move around. I think he makes better decisions than Favre and Rodgers made. I mean, both those guys were kind of gunslingers, and good things happened to them because they continuously made wild plays, and they just happened to work out for them a lot. But I think Love makes some more calculated risks, and I think he'll be all right. Packers, and they'll have a defense again someday.
Well, I mean, once they get a coordinator that doesn't put 270-pound Preston Smith on a number two receiver, like, what are we doing?
Hey, he was fast in high school.
Yeah. Somebody I saw on Twitter made me laugh. I love NFL Twitter. I love NFL Twitter because it's just like, it makes me wonder why I have Twitter because of the dumb things. Like, somebody was like, I'm hyped for the Packers season. This is the projected defense. Had Preston Smith at linebacker. Like, they're moving to a 4-3. He might be the 3 tech. He might not even be on the edge anymore. You want him in a 4-2 nickel package as a linebacker?
This is the 1970s
like, what are we doing?
NFL. Like, they throw the ball now, kids. A big pickup, Ben Sinnott, the tight end for K-State. He's going to Washington. I did not know this until I did some research because I was like, I like that guy. He's from Waterloo, Columbus, a small Iowa town, or I guess Waterloo's a big city, but small school. But I liked Washington's draft. They got Jaden Daniels, Mike Ruskell, the cornerback from Michigan. Good ball hawker. I think he'll be solid for them.
It's one of the
and then
ones.
Luke McCaffrey, wide receiver. He's not his brother, but he's still a McCaffrey. Kid can't find him.
Oh, it's the last one. Opposite. Yeah, Luke McCaffrey's one. You watch the tape and you're just like, yeah, he's not his brother.
Yeah, but he's
if you can watch it without knowing the name McCaffrey, you're like, oh, this dude's an athlete.
Yeah,
but because he's a McCaffrey, you're immediately comparing him to his dad and his brother. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, he's not them.
He'll
be
a slot guy. I mean,
yeah.
he'll get the job done. I think he'll be all right. But I was kind of impressed with I think that's going to help them move up in the always strong but guaranteed to be weak NFC East.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that conference is always up for grabs. I mean, the Cowboys and the Eagles will screw it up in the end no matter what.
Have 4 corners and the rest of the field can do whatever they want. But
that's our
lock down any passing game.
Because if we get a pass rush on people, I mean, our front 6, front 7 is way better than any other team. But then if you can get the pass off, we're screwed.
They got my number 1 linebacker, Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Oh yeah.
If he wasn't I don't know what he ran in the combine, probably like a 4.6. Like, he's slow. Like, 4.6, you're like, oh, that's not that bad for a linebacker. You watch him play, you're like, no, this dude's an old school linebacker. Yeah. He ain't hawking anybody down. He's between the tackles and he's stuffing everything.
He's a legacy pick right there.
Oh, and one, it's a legacy pick. 2, like, legitimately, if it wasn't for him being slow, he goes first round, I think.
Yeah.
Like, he does everything right besides being fast.
Well, Will Shipley, he doesn't get hurt in that bowl game. He's not a 4th rounder. He's probably a 2nd rounder.
Yeah,
because I mean he's one of those Clemson athletes that they just have.
Can play the slot.
The Hunt kid from Houston Christian, he's 6'4", 260, 270, just long. So I was happy with that pick. I think the Eagles will be. I'm a diehard Eagle fan. We're going to lose when it matters. So we might look good now on a draft pick, but when the conference championship game comes around, we're losing. I mean, it's just the way it is, or we'll have to play the stupid Chiefs again.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Browns. Everybody hates on
we could be the first loser.
Well, everybody's calling for Mike Tomlin's head because he hasn't won a playoff game in 3 years or whatever.
Yeah, it's like
dog. Yeah, he's never had a losing season in 19 years. The dude's arguably the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah.
If he had a couple of Super Bowl rings instead of just 1, I think he's got 1.
Might have 2.
Because the Packers beat him.
How many does Roethlisberger have? Does he have 2?
Packers beat the Steelers, and then they won it against the Cardinals like 2 years ago, or 2 years later.
Oh, one is an assistant.
Yeah, they beat Larry Fitz and the Cardinals.
And Jerome Harrison interception game.
Yep.
09.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I knew he had at least 1.
But yeah, it's like if he had 3 Super Bowl rings, he's the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah.
Like, Bill Belichick is, obviously, he's the real GOAT. Like, there's no competing with him. But it's like, how many losing seasons did he have?
Yeah.
A lot more than Mike Tomlin, that's for sure.
Well, you go back to the Cleveland Brown days.
Yeah.
I mean, and those coaching staffs they had at the Browns was ridiculous. Yeah. Saban was on that staff, Ferentz. I mean, it was just loaded with coaches on that staff. But, yeah, I think that I didn't really see anybody have a horrible draft. I think... there's
Falcons.
no Fs.
Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, they just made it the stupidest draft pick.
Bills made no sense to me because they lost pretty much their entire secondary, lost all their receivers pretty much, or they lost, their top 2. Like, you get Keon Coleman, he's a catch guy, but you don't have, a burner, and that's the only receiver they got. They only picked up a safety and Daquan Hardy, who was, the number 4 corner at Penn State virtually. So it's like you didn't fill obviously, if you look at the needs, it checks it because they drafted someone in that position. But like,
Yeah.
they didn't do what they needed to do. That's for sure, in my opinion. But we'll see how they do. And then you guys both like the Bears. I personally hated the Bears draft.
I think they're idiots for
It makes no sense.
wasting why. I'm more of a Fields guy than a Williams guy. I mean,
Fields,
and then you pick a punter with the 4th round pick.
The best punter.
yeah, but
He ain't no Reggie Ruby though.
so like the Bears
They
offensive
gonna
line.
name it. They're gonna have the Troy Taylor Award in 20 years. They're always gonna be the Reggie Ruby Award.
If anything, Pat McAfee is yeah, just because.
Yeah, he's the go to punters.
But like their line was terrible. They drafted someone in the 3rd. Caleb Williams. I don't know if he's going to be a bust,
He is.
but I'm pretty sure he's going to be a bust. And like you look at his throws. What are his best throws? Nobody's around the receiver for 15 yards. If he has a tight throw, it's one a game maybe. Like he can't make the tight throws. He's an athlete and he'll make the open throws. You don't get a lot of open throws in the NFL.
He's worried about all the extra stuff, like because
he wanted to be an owner.
I need partial shares and all this stuff. They're like, come on, dude, like just be a quarterback first. But yeah, that just tells you how bad their draft is. We need to call Gray right now and make fun of him for this because who takes a punter with the 4th round? Like
when you only have 2 more picks.
Yeah.
It'd be different if they had 7 picks after that or something.
This is the guy in fantasy league that takes the defense in like the 4th round, and you're like, yep, that guy ain't winning the league.
Yeah.
And that's how you help your young quarterback is by flipping the field and giving him better field position.
Yeah. So does Caleb Williams
Put him
say?
back.
Does Caleb
Open
Williams say,
defense,
all right, they
hold
took me as a quarterback, and then in the 4th round, 3 rounds later, they figured they better take a punter, the best punter in the nation, because they're probably gonna have to use him.
Yeah.
Well, the other one probably got overworked last year. His
Yeah.
leg was
Well, like,
falling off, so.
obviously their defense was solid, and they have all the weapons in the world on offense now. But like, yeah, their line still sucks,
Yeah.
and
And they didn't do anything there. Well, they get a tackle from Yale.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's gonna be smart.
he's gonna be
but
great. He's gonna read the defense, tell you exactly what's gonna happen, then he's gonna miss his block.
He hasn't seen a grown man play against him in football yet.
Yeah.
So
Now Caleb Williams, I wasn't high on him all year. I was like, nah, he's not the number 1. And then when he sits out the bowl game and that backup, I don't remember his name, comes in and throws for like 350 yards, 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I'm like, he did better than Caleb Williams did.
I was never impressed with him when he was at Oklahoma.
No,
Like I never have been.
like he was good. It's not like he's
honestly,
terrible, but
Harrison should have been the number 1 pick overall. That guy is a
you keep
game
Fields,
changer.
you do Marvin Harrison, and then you get
Yeah.
you get a tackle with that number 9 pick, or trade out of that number 9 for multiple 2s and 3s or something.
Yeah.
And build around Justin Fields. I hope I never wish injury on someone, but I do hope Russell Wilson gets hurt, and I hope Justin Fields or just Justin can beat him out. I don't think he will, but I want to see Justin Fields play for the Steelers this year. Absolutely tear it up with that garbage offense they have. Like, hey, you're going to throw the ball 15 times and we're going to run it. Those 15 throws are going to be elite. You're going to throw for 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, 200 yards on 15 completions.
I could see them using Russell for a couple years because they got 3 decent linemen in the draft.
Yeah.
And the Steelers they had a good draft because they picked they got what they needed.
They got exactly what they needed.
And Fields, give him a couple years to work around Russell, and he'll be all right.
Well,
and they're going to build those guys up, those linemen who are great college players, build them into NFL players, and Fields is going to be able to step right in and play with a great team.
I was talking to my buddy about it, and he's like, why did they get Fields? It's like, because he's not going to play.
Yeah.
So you're going to have Russell Wilson play this year on his last year of his contract. They'll probably get rid of him.
For super cheap.
Then you'll get Justin Fields on a 3-year or 2-year,
Yeah, because he can't
$10 million.
He can't ask for a bunch of money yet.
Yeah, no, he needs a prove it year at least. So you're at least getting 1 year out of him super cheap.
Yeah.
Then you might, and then if he doesn't pan
younger
out,
Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be able to snag at least 3.
He can
Yeah.
run a lot of the same offense.
You might be able to get like a 4th player option or something, but you're going to get some years out of him. And all you got to do is play Russell Wilson for 1 year. And it's not like he's a horrible quarterback. You put him in the right system and he'll be fine.
no,
He's
Sean Payton ruined his
He's a
career
game
almost.
manager. I mean, it's what he is.
Speaking of Sean Payton, Denver had an interesting one.
I didn't like.
I was just kind of surprised, like 6 quarterbacks top 12 was kind of nuts.
Yeah, I didn't like their draft because, like, I don't know a lot about the Broncos, obviously, but like just based off of last year and like where they're like clearly weak, they didn't really draft. Like, I like Audric Estime from Notre Dame, or Estime, whatever. Troy Franklin is literally someone that's just going to run deep. So you don't have a number one
Troy
receiver.
Franklin, more like
If
Clifford
Bo
Franklin.
Nix he can sling her.
Yeah, but like, is that going to be your number one option? Because they don't have Judy anymore. They don't have like their number one on roster right now is Sutton, and he's all right. He's never had a good quarterback, so I can't say he's bad.
Yeah, I mean
I saw on the undrafted free agents, Rocky Lombardi
Oh,
from
Michigan State.
well, he went to Michigan State. He ended up at
Valley.
Northern Iowa from
Valley. Yeah, Valley.
He went signed with the Bengals.
He drew a heavyweight wrestler. I think he was heavyweight champ at Valley.
Yeah. Then like the Janke brothers from South Dakota State both signed with the Texans.
Nice.
I thought that was kind of cool. Like, hey, you want to go sign and go to a camp together? It's like that'd be kind of cool.
Is that the same? Did the Texans sign the brothers from UCF? The one had one hand, and didn't they both go to the same team?
No, because
Shaq
Shaq was the one with the hand, and they both were Shaq. It was like
They were both
it
drafted.
was like Shaquille and
Seahawks.
Shaquem ended up playing with his brother, but they got drafted differently.
Yeah, he went to the Seahawks. And I went to the Jaguars.
Yeah. I think Shaq got drafted by the Seahawks, just went to the Jags, and then Shaquem was a undrafted free agent, I believe. He went somewhere, then he ended up going to the
Yeah, because there they
Seahawks
are
eventually.
both at the Seahawks.
Yeah, I don't think he never actually like played for him. I don't think because he went to it has Texans right there.
Well, you
but-
know you ain't gonna
He
play
w-
when you're number 49, dude.
Yeah.
Like that number don't get on the field.
Well, it's great. Like, I'm,
only for punts and like you're the long snapper.
well, it's like that was like if you look at his film, the dude was a beast.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like if he had two hands, he's a number one, like
Yeah,
first
he-
round pick. Like,
he played.
but it was literally that. It was his hand.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, that can't be that big. No, in the NFL, when everybody's running top speed, like, no, that hand makes a difference.
Yeah, you
Like,
kind of need that hand.
yeah,
Yeah,
that dude was a stud.
he was good. All right, well that was our. I think that's all our current stuff. Do you have anything else? What else? Anything good going on in the world? I think that was all sports wise.
I mean, that's the best part of the world.
I mean, that's all I know how to read. I did cancel my.
Bank account, and you're like, damn, I still pay for that.
Oh, well, I guess
Yeah,
I'll.
Cubs are tied for first in the
These are up there. We didn't.
Stage where the Cubs are at the lead, and then they'll blow it because their pitching goes down hills
Hey,
like
you gotta
always.
wait till September.
Well, we know the Cardinals. No matter what, September rolls around, they're just gonna they could be last in MLB and be in the win the division.
Last year they were legit last, and
They're-
then like September they won like 15 games or something like that.
Yeah.
In September they're like, damn, are they gonna make a push?
They're the
Don't
Michigan.
even put it out there. Don't even speak it into existence.
They're the Michigan State of the MLB.
Yeah,
I mean, like, they just find a way
just
somehow
don't
at the
know
end. Like we'll find a way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we brought Ruskell in. We'll talk a little bit about the weight room and how it coincides with other sports. We'll jump off softball right around the corner. You guys have been playing a little spring league stuff going on.
2 games, but yeah.
What's softball look like this year? We got some extra wins last year, right? Kind of trying to turn the tide. Like pretty much every sport around here,
Yeah.
we're always trying to turn the tide. But what are we looking at for softball this year?
I know personally I'm looking like you just said, turn the tide. I want to stop looking at the next chapter and look at this chapter. Last year the goal was 3 wins. We got our 3 wins. It was like a bittersweet one because really, I said 10 wins because looking at the team, I was like, there's no reason we don't win 10. As long as we play good softball, we'll win at least 10 games. There's probably 7 games in there that would have got us to 10 wins where we had an inning where we had 3 back-to-back errors or something. They scored like 6 runs in 1 inning. And it's like, well, if it take away that inning, we win the game. So it's like, all right, you can't do that, obviously, but
That's why I think me and Kiv talked about that numerous times about baseball. Is like that's what kind of holds Red Oak back in baseball. Is we get one
Yeah.
bad inning where we leave too many guys on base, or we make 1 error with 2 outs, and next thing you know, it snowballs into just badness.
it turns bad real quick.
But and last year, I was watching it wasn't KCSI, it would have been Glenwood's, but you guys were beating Glenwood over there in softball. And there was another game where you guys were winning, or LC, where you guys were
LC,
battling
we were
with them,
beating LC.
and it was just a 6th inning debacle. One
LC.
bad error, turns into 3, and next thing you know, you're losing both games.
LC, we were up like 5-1 going into the 6th. They had 7 runs in the 6th. Glenwood, we were up 3-1. They switched pitchers. They put in their number 1. Like, it was like, dang, all right. She's one of the best players in the state. Like, she's been that way since an 8th grader. She's now a junior, so we'll have to deal with her again. But put her in. She went 9 straight batters. I don't even know if we made contact. The girl's good. And then she hit a solo home run, and then she hit a 2-run triple. So it's like, literally after the game, it was like, we almost beat Glenwood, guys. That one sucks. We just lost one of the best players in state. That's literally, she was responsible for everything that they did.
Is that one of those things you like, girls? They had to put one of the best players in the state to beat you today.
Yeah.
They brought her back into the game to win. That's something to not be discouraged. I mean, be able to be confident about it. But carry on. Looking at the season ahead.
1 senior last year, so
1 senior last year.
return.
A lot this year. We got 4 seniors this year. So, but I know our 7th grade class, we got 10 girls that are athletic and they all play softball. So come next year as 8th graders, they'll hopefully stay with softball. We got a few 8th graders this year. But I mean, we're still a pretty young team. All in all, like last year, the goal was 10. Statistically, it was the best year we've had since Tristan Johnson left, which was 3 years ago. So want to build off that and just be a could-have, should-have, could-have season. I'm a believer in should-have, could-have. Should-have is something we could have done that would have fixed. Could-have is, I don't know if we do something differently, it might help, might not help. But there were so many should-have happens last year that we just need to clean up, and we're gonna be good. Double-digit wins again is my goal. I don't know what the team is doing. We haven't talked that yet, but double digits is my goal at least. Get some first team all conference, put some respect on the Tigers because Jaden Lindsay was the number 5 in the conference last year. Didn't get first team. She's a top 50 player. Like, she's literally like looking up the stats. Like she's like a top 50 player in the state and didn't get first team all conference. Like, all right. And then we had just looking at conference. I went through all the numbers because it was time for voting. Jaden should have been first team. Merced should have been first team because she was top 16 player in fielding and hitting. Nicole, Timberly, Lex, Emma, through so much. Yeah, we had like 6 that should have been all conference.
Well, that's what I always
And
say
they
for
didn't get the
football.
votes.
We go there, and Underwood just dominated the first team, and I'm sitting here like, you're telling me that every single one of Underwood's linemen were better than my linemen. Like, Adam Byer did it all by himself. There wasn't one good guy blocking for him. Like, if this person went to Underwood, he would not start for you. That kid would start for you. It's like, no, that's not true. Like, these are good players. Just because their record says one thing doesn't mean that they're not a top-tier player.
Yep.
You know, because if she's top 50, you know, you're looking at a close to an all-district player than just instead of just all-conference.
Yeah, she's like watching her. Like if you look at the stats, you're like, oh, she's a good player. Like those stats don't lie. Watching her play, you're like, yeah, this is a softball player right here. Like when we have a bunch of those girls where like you look at the stats, and you're like, oh, they're pretty good. Then you watch them play, and you're like, how does this team only win 3 games? Like it makes no sense that we can't string together the wins. So once we can figure out how to win, I mean, look, like obviously all the coaches saying look out, but like legitimately you watch us play and like individual players play, you're like, dang, that's a dang good softball player.
It's like Dan Hurley. Get us now because we coming.
Yeah, we're coming. What's the keys to a good softball team? I mean, like, because baseball you need pitchers, softball you just need one, right? So if you had just a solid lockdown pitcher, are you going to be able to go a long ways? I mean, you still got to score runs, but if you can shut people down, throw a no-hitter every game because there's no pitch count, is that, I mean, really all you need?
Softball's a kind of a one-pitch deal. Like Nicole obviously was the pitcher last year. We're getting Josie back this year, so we don't know who's going to be the one between Nicole and Josie. They're both.
So it's a perk having 2.
Yeah, we have 2. And, like, going into it, I'm, like, coming from baseball, I'm like, dang, what if we just pitch one for, like, 4 innings? Throw the other one in as, like, a closer so there's a little bit of change. Because everybody was talking about, like, Josie herself is like, I'm a slow pitcher, but I'm accurate. Then I watch her throw. I'm like, you ain't slow. I was like, I've seen slow. You ain't slow. You're not fast, but you ain't slow. That's for sure.
So is there enough difference in a pitcher where you could screw with a team? I mean, like baseball, I always say, like, if you got a guy that can throw, 80s, and then you bring a guy in he's starting to get hit, and then you bring a guy in that throws it like 60, you're going to get by for an inning because is there much difference in like a pitch? Because even form.
Yeah.
Pitching movement, the movement of a pitcher, is it different in softball too enough? Because, I mean, it seems like it'd just be the same. You'd see the same pitch movement every time, no matter who it is.
Yeah, we're working with different pitches this year too to get a little bit so we're not just throwing fastballs. So that'll be big. But yeah, I mean, it's like baseball. Dawson threw 90? I don't know, 85, 90.
It's probably
And
80s.
Yeah, he's humming it.
Like then the next one is a 5 mile per hour drop off, and like that's a pretty noticeable drop off. Where like softball, it's not that noticeable of a drop off, but it's enough to mess you up. So like if Nicole's out there throwing 55, Josie comes in, she's throwing 50, 52, something like that. And then we have Emily too. She can go in. Emily throws the hardest, but she needs to work on her accuracy a little bit.
Need to get her the skull, crossbone glasses.
Just get some wild thing going and just watch her hum it in there.
That's what I told Blake Sloan. You guys get those glasses.
Oh, Blake can.
He can hum it, but
he can throw.
He goes everywhere, right?
Yeah, if you can get that, it's enough of a speed difference that like you have to adjust a little bit. That it does make a difference. But yeah, I mean, if you have like softball, it's a lot more about hitting spots. Like obviously, if you can throw like this girl from Nottoway, I can't remember if she's a junior or senior. We played her in a scrimmage last year. They had their pitcher, no knock on her. She was an 8th grader freshman, but she threw slow. She threw like 45, 40 maybe. It was a slow pitch. And I think we scored like 10 runs on her. And it's like, dang, I feel kind of bad. It's like we're knocking this girl. She's a young girl. Like, don't want to discourage her or anything. Then they bring in their number one. They're like, we were trying to not throw her this tournament because we got games next week. And I was like, okay. And I'm talking to the coach, and I don't even see the pitch. I hear it hit the catcher's mitt, and I'm like, whoa. And like I look and I watch the next pitch. I'm like, cool. And I look over at the coach, and he's like, yeah, she's pretty quick. Like, she had to have been thrown 60 to 65. Is that last year's?
Yeah.
That sounds right. I don't know. She could throw, like, it had to have been 60 to 65.
Junior.
Because I went back on Huddle and, like, recorded the first pitcher.
Yeah,
you can see the pitch. Record her. You can't see the ball on my phone. I'm like, golly, that's fat. Like, she threw it so hard. So, yeah, if you have someone that can throw that hard, you're going to be pretty good. Otherwise, it's can you hit spots? Can you keep them low to make them hit grounders? And then you got a field. Nicole's stats looked off because varsity bound. I don't know. The stats are off. But, like, her ERA was lower than what it actually was because we had a ton of errors. So, like, if we knock out those errors, Nicole is more than, 8.52 ERA. I would say she was probably at least around, like, a 4.55, which, like, isn't great. But that's also because, sure, they got an error, but then that one good hit or whatever, then it counts. So it's like, if we get rid of errors, Nicole and Josie are both more than capable of pitchers where, like, we'll be fine. And, like, we really started turning up the offense later in the season. So, yeah, pitcher makes a difference, whether it's pure speed or hit your spots, make them question if it's a ball, keep them low where you're hitting on the ground, and let your fielders do the work.
Yeah, because you got so many different hitting styles in softball. I mean,
yeah,
it's kind of a crazy game to watch. I tried playing slow pitch softball one year, and
love me some slow pitch.
Dude, I see that ball just floating in the air. I'm like, I'm going to crush that thing. With 3 times, go ahead and go have another seat on the bench. And then I was the pitcher. I was pretty good at that. But then people started showing me videos of people lining the ball back in the pitcher. And I'm like, I'm good. Like, I don't need that in my life.
He was decent now. Didn't throw the most fastest pitch. But the rest of my team was just knocking around. Like the kid on our team that didn't have a hit all year gets it. I struck out twice in the same inning.
It's too slow for me, Coach.
It's like, what is this?
I don't know. Like, I couldn't wait. I was pulling my head.
Swinging out of your shoes.
Probably.
You probably saw, you're like, I'm taking this thing yard.
Yeah.
Like, dang it. Then you're embarrassed that you whiffed. So then you're like,
but we're up like 8, 9, 10. I'm like, Yeah, I'll just sit out there
Whatever.
sunny dad. Like, I don't even feel like
Yeah.
I belong out there.
But it's like you talked about, like a pitcher comes in for like one inning. I know a guy a grade below me. I swear to God, he threw a 60-mile-an-hour fastball, and it was the slowest pitch ever. You're like, this is a home run ball, like slow pitch, like batting practice. You throw harder, and he would come in 6th or 7th inning and just throw off the whole batting lineup because they're sitting back 75, 80 or whatever, and they're looking for it, and then they're just way ahead of it. It's like, all right, you're good. You got your inning in. Now you made them think.
But you got to get them out quick.
Yeah.
Because as soon as one person gets contact, it's going to be a domino effect.
Yep.
Just everybody's going to start cranking them. But yeah, I remember we had that in high school. We had a couple guys. Kyle Winkle could bring the heat, and he ended up playing football at Iowa State, quarterback. And then we had a couple other guys that they didn't bring the heat so much, but we just mixed them up in well. And then we had a side armor, a submarine that's just a whole other thing. But if he wasn't on, like get him out quick because he's walking the whole team. It got rough. But yeah, it'd be nice. It's nice to see the participation. I mean, you got decent numbers. It's always nice to get a few more, but
This is just
You can't see it on screen, but like, look at those averages. Like, hitting is not.
No.
Literally, errors killed us last year. So if we can clean up the errors, we're going to be golden, and we're going to surprise some people.
you got 3 hitting over 300. One of them was a senior, and like I said, only one senior.
Yep.
But almost the whole team hit over 200 that played significant innings. But I mean, yeah,
Miley's hitting left-handed this year.
the better thing to look at is the on base percentage. You got 4, 6, 7 people in that are both 300 an 8th grader, a freshman, sophomore, freshman, junior, sophomore, junior. So it looks promising.
Miley's numbers are going up. We switched her to lefty this year because I noticed last year she'd swing through, and like all of her weight would be forward. And I'm like, that's weird. And I'm like looking at her hands are out. I was like, you finish like a lefty. She's like, well, I am left-handed. I was like, what? She's like, I've just done everything right-handed my whole life, but I'm naturally left-handed.
It's
I'm
switch
like,
to the other side.
Well, next year we're gonna hit left-handed. She's
Yeah.
like, okay. Literally, we've only practiced it 3 times in 2 spring games. Her swing just looks so much more natural. It's like, all right, now we just need to fix the arms a little bit because your arms are still a little off.
yeah, but just getting used to it.
I was like, does it feel comfortable? She's like, it feels so much better.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
yeah, my brother's going through the same thing with his son. His son's 3. Some started a little earlier than others, I guess.
Right.
But I'm left-handed. I write, I throw, left-handed. But then, like, I learned how to golf from my dad and how to hit baseball. That's probably why I never hit very well. Right-handed, because he taught my brother at the same time. So those are 2 things I do right-handed, and because I feel like that's how I was taught. You know, my dad couldn't teach me left-handed; he had to teach me right-handed.
You kick left-footed?
Yep, I do. The only 2 things I do is swing clubs or bats, right-handed.
My left hand's worthless. Like, I'll try to brush my teeth is just a 10-minute procedure with my left hand. But, like, I've trained myself in pool to hit lefty. So I started there, then I bowled
Sometimes
left-handed.
those walls are a little too close in pool halls.
That's-
you know?
yeah,
You gotta be ambidextrous.
That's literally why, because the pool table at home was literally like, you couldn't hit right-handed on one side. So it was like, okay, I'm going to go lefty. Then I did bowling, a couple other things. I can kind of throw a ball lefty. I can kind of hit lefty. Just
You can throw a
training my
football
left
about
hand.
10 yards left-handed, and then
Yeah.
it's done.
The worst is when you lose the ability to use your dominant hand and then you got to wipe your butt. You're going to fall right off that toilet. I don't care what you say.
I pray I never injured my right arm like it's been.
It's good thing I'm married, I guess.
Honey, no.
No, I know
Honey.
you want to know.
Straight to
No.
the shark.
You just hear the door leave, the car turn on. Like,
Yeah.
I guess she's going to the store. I guess I'll wait.
I'll be here.
Well, you got softball, and then you assistant for wrestling.
Yep.
What's the biggest difference you think coaching males to females? Is there coaching style change for you? I mean, with me, because I coach football, bowling, and track, I coach the girls in bowling, but to me, bowling, you're not really coaching. It's a leisure activity. I can sit there and have a conversation with a female or a male the same way in a sport, but like actually having to coach them in a high adrenaline sport as well with wrestling and softball. Do you see any much of a difference in coaching them or how they receive coaching?
I thought I don't know, when I was getting into it, everybody was like, oh, you're going to have to change how you coach or whatever, because people that have been around me know I'm a pretty intense coach. But, like, so I dial it back a little bit, but that's more of just to keep my sanity, because I can be very intense. But now, like, the biggest difference, honestly, is in how you coach them, because you can coach them the same. Like, they might, like, you don't yell as much, obviously, like a guy. And that's not even girl guy. That's just
knowing the
players themselves. And, like, it seems like a majority of the girls I've worked with don't, like, respond to that. So it's like, okay. But, I mean, you get your few. So it's more likely, like, a guy's going to respond to coaching. But obviously, it makes a difference either way. The big one is them listening. Like, Molnick's talked about last year. He's like, I'd rather teach girls all day, like coach girls, than boys basketball all day. I'm like, really? Why? It's like, no egos. Like, you go in, you just coach basketball. It's like, yeah, no egos. I go into boys basketball, I tell them to do something. They're like, why am I doing it? I was just like, is it that bad? Yeah, it's that bad. Yeah, like, literally, you see it in wrestling, because we have our guys and girls are together. We're not separate. So it's, hey, we're doing this. You watch the girls. They don't get it right away or whatever. They'll come and ask. Guys will not ask a question. They'll just sit there and struggle and be like, what are you doing over there? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Well, then ask. Like, why are we, like, what are we doing? So girls will ask the questions. You tell them to do something. They're not going to question it. They're just going to do it. They're going to work hard. And, like, they're going to get after it.
Are they more technical? Like, with the wrestling, probably be a better example. Like, if you're teaching them how to do a half Nelson, they're like, are they going to be more technical? Like, my hand, you teach them to put their hand right here, so their hand has to be right there. Compared to a guy, a guy's probably going to be like, there, that's a half, isn't it? And it's like, well, it's a crappy half, but it was a half. A girl wants the perfect half.
More technical for sure. And that's nice too, because you break down the technique. And that's, I'm sure Pod would say the same. Because, I mean, we wrestled our whole lives, so you show a move, and you're like, there you go, do it. And then it's like, I don't know what you just did. And it's like, I don't know how to explain it, really, because it's just, I've done it my whole life, so it's second nature. So then you have to, like, you watch it, and, like, the guys will just do it, and if it's halfway wrong, they're going to commit to it. Girl will be in a position, like, hey, this isn't right, come here. And it's like, you got to move your leg. Like, just up here or something. So, yeah, it is very technical. They listen to the fine details, and they do the fine details more than just, close enough, let's muscle through it kind of deal. So,
it's kind of like in the weight room, too. Like, we always preach, like, if you have perfect technique, you're going to be able to lift more than that brute over there that's just like, oh, it's good enough. Like, I just moved 500 pounds, but, yeah, you're deadlifting 500, but your back is bowed like a bow and arrow. Like, it's disgusting, and it's got to hurt. Technique. You know who I
don't have to teach technique to twice in the weight room? Girls. They're just, like, in class. Like, and there's a few of them, like, I'll be walking around or whatever, and they'll, like, stop and be like, oh, am I doing something wrong? Like, nope, you're actually doing something perfect. I just wanted to acknowledge that you're doing this with perfect form, and I appreciate it.
Well, it's the praise and learn, right? Yeah. Every play in the sport, you should be coaching, either praising them or teaching them something. So they're probably get worried because they're probably just getting taught something all the time or complained to. Like I said, I've always thought about coaching girls sports, but like my demeanor, I think I'd feel like I'd make them cry because I just go and unload on them because that's just the way I don't think I can change. But I mean, if it's like you said, it's more about coaching the singular athlete compared to in general all of them.
I only lost it like twice last year in softball. Wrestling, I lost it on the guys this year. One time in practice was really bad. I was like, whew. But like some practices, like girls will practice, even though we practice together, girls are on one side of the room, guys on the other. I'm going to hang out over here. Girls are doing everything right. I'm going to hang out over here. Like, hey, like, all right, I'm not going to fight this.
I'm not going to ruin my day.
If you want to wrestle hard and like learn stuff, let's come over to this side of the room.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, one day I lost it. And, like, I was clearly just yelling at them because I was standing by the girls. It was the girls and, like, two of the groups of the guys doing what they're supposed to. And I lost it on the other side of the room. And it was bad. Some of the girls will still be like, you remember that time? Like, yeah, I remember. Thanks. Same thing with softball. There's 2 times I yelled. And it was like at the outfield, and it was literally just we were hesitating on throws.
Yeah.
It's like, we know what we're doing. Throw it. Stop hesitating. I see parents like looking in the dugout like, dang, my bad.
I just talked about it too. Right.
And then yelled at them one day because they weren't talking. They were just like, and it was JV. So with our numbers, like the numbers look good, but that's all the team. So we had like 5 varsity players playing JV. So it's like, yeah, I don't want to get motivated for JV either. This became a doubleheader day for me.
Yeah.
So they just weren't talking. I just, hey, do this. All right, we feel a pulse. Cool, let's start talking and acting like we're live out there. Otherwise, this is pointless. And set it with a little louder volume. And they were just, all right.
We can handle that.
Yeah. And then that still also gets bring up. You remember when you told us to check our pulse? I'm like, yes.
Yes.
You yell every day, and then it doesn't mean as much as...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You save it for the right time.
Got to dig it in a little bit more.
I remember I was always told if your coach isn't yelling at you, then that shows doesn't care anymore. They don't care anymore.
Kip knows Held from Denison. He gave us that speech. He was the freshman coach when I was he freshman when you? He might have been varsity still, assistant.
The year I went up to like varsity, I think he went down.
Okay.
So I think I just missed him. Like, I had him in class. And
he gave the freshman speech, like first day of practice all the time. When I stop yelling at you, be worried.
Yeah.
Never heard him stop yelling. It was just like, oh, that's just how, like once you start practicing with varsity and stuff, you just hear him yelling. You're like, ah, he's just yelling. My senior year, he stopped yelling, and we stopped practice. Everybody stopped, turned and looked over at the freshman. Whoa. And like coaches are like, hey, what are we doing? But the coaches that have been there and no help, they were also like, oh my God, he stopped yelling. So we're just staring at him, and you just see him give up on him, and then like breaks it down. You just see him walking back. We're like, Coach, you all right? And he just shakes his head. I'm like, he gave up on him. Like it was like a big thing. We all knew. Freshmen didn't even realize what was going on, but we were all like, oh no.
Then you go to the place like, what'd you guys do? Actually, what didn't you do? Yeah, my coaches, they always told us that if we stop yelling at you, or stop coaching is what they always would say too, is like, you should know that, like, we don't care anymore.
It means I gave up on it.
Yeah. It's like, we don't
stop holding me accountable.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. I always complain about kids' accountability. Like, last summer, I kicked kids out of the weight room if they're 5 minutes late, a minute late, because, hey, this is when we start. Mm-hmm. Get out of here. And I always talk about, there's only one person we ever waited for with the bus. Mm-hmm. That was Dawson Bond. And I don't think any other coach would disagree with me that I'd gladly wait on the bus for that.
You're showing favorites. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I am.
He works hard. What can I say?
There is, and that's another thing. Like, people say you shouldn't have favorites, you shouldn't show favoritism. Like, actually, yeah, you should. Like, if a kid's putting in extra work and they're going above and beyond to do better compared to a kid that doesn't show to anything, is lazy in practice, the one that's doing all the work is going to get more perks than the other one. I mean, it's just, and that's what life is. If Kipley's going above and beyond and doing all this extra stuff and I'm doing nothing, and there's an opportunity for something that I want to do, and Kip does, they're going to give it to Kip over me because he shows the initiative when you don't have to. It's that working in the dark aspect that kids, I don't think, understand as much anymore. There's not enough of them.
Well, that was with wrestling. Pod talked about it in the awards. I'm surprised he brought it up. I was like, oh, dang, he ain't holding back here. Because every girl was all academic by herself, so then the team was all academic, naturally. Yep. We only had, I want to say 3 guys. Maybe only 2. It might have only been Joshua and Kyler. But all academic, so they're doing everything right in the classroom. They're showing up to morning runs. They're showing up every time. They're doing the stuff. It's like, yeah, hey, it's no surprise. Like, obviously, Nicole and Josie went to state. Amber was 1 win away. Paige was lost in her wrestle back for third, so she got 4, so she wins that one. I say Amber was 1 win away. She had to win and then win again, obviously. But Maddie was 2 away. Like, yeah, we had 2 qualify. 3 right there. Why? Because they show up when they're supposed to. They do the work. And that's kind of like with softball, too. If we have a practice, everybody's showing up.
Yeah.
Like, optional stuff in the off season, yeah, we're not.
You just offer donuts, you're good, right?
Honestly, there's the difference with guys and girls.
Yeah, you can offer donuts. I have to offer like full pizzas.
Yeah,
like, you gotta give some meal, don't you, Coach?
Yeah,
yeah. I've heard that from both of them. That like you just offer them donuts or something, they'll be good.
Like our 5 a.m.s last year, it was 5:30 a.m. It's like you gotta bring donuts. all right, I'll bring donuts. All of a sudden, 8 people are there. It's like, whew, all right, I'll bring donuts every time. And then they never eat them all. It's like, all right, whatever.
I guess I'm going to get fatter today.
Yeah.
Well, that's with our morning practices. I tell the kids, you miss a practice, you miss a quarter in the game. Mm-hmm. It doesn't stop them. We have kids
those Wednesday practices. Every time I drive by the field, I see 3 cars. I'm like,
yeah, they don't show up. We had varsity starters not show up, and probably thought I wasn't going to not start them. And that first quarter, they weren't in there. Like, we'll sacrifice it. But yeah, that's funny how that kids just I just don't get it. I don't get it sometimes. But it's more to do than just the kids. That's how they're
What did
raised.
you find almost the opposite? Not to throw shit at our boys, but
yeah.
Well, yeah, they always get
a lot of
big
them you have to
more.
like, hey, take 10 pounds off.
Your form looks like garbage. Let's
The big and finding their right groups. Like kids will work out with the wrong people, and then they're like, well, I don't want to have to move weights on and off, so we'll just do the same weight and do the same lifting. When it's like, well, you should be doing like 30 pounds more than that kid. Yeah. Like, why are you benching 110 right now? You should be doing like 200. Well, I don't want to move the weight. Or like, then go work with somebody that, well, they're not my friends. Like, who cares? Like, they're your teammates. Like, just go work with them. So,
100% with girls, it's, hey, put on more weight. Like, you can do more. Well, we're all working out together. Or I've heard a lot, like, I don't want to lift that much.
They don't want to get that big and muscular and stuff.
Or they just, like, don't want to. Keely Jones, I'll call her out. If you go in the weight room, look at the record board, she's number 2 on squat. Before I made her be number 2 on squat, she was squatting like 95 pounds. I'm like, Keely, get under the bar. It's max out day. You're maxing out. And she's like, I did. I was like, get under the bar. She gets under the bar, and we just keep adding weight. I think she failed 195 maybe, and she got 190. I think that's what her number is. But yeah, it's like she was squatting 95 for reps on like the heavy week and stuff. It's like, what are you doing? She's like, well, everybody else was. I don't want to be like stronger than them. Like, why not? Why not? Like, be stronger.
Yeah, finding the right groups, and they don't want to change it, so they do find the right group.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's almost, and like with girls, like I don't want to be too strong, right? Or like, and then guys, you have the fear of failure. Like, well, I don't bench that much. I'm a junior in high school. Like, I can't go in there. People are gonna make fun of me. Like, I've never seen anybody. I mean, they pick on each other in the weight room. I mean, Hayden Hebrink walks in there every morning, and it's like a clown show, and they all start picking on each other. Like, we watched it for half an hour the other day. Like, these guys, all right, guys, let's wrap it up. But I mean, it's a community that support each other more than make fun of each other. If you're not okay with the razzing or the jokes, then they're not going to do that to you.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's like throwback or callback to the girls episode. Morella and Jasmine talked about, they made fun of us for a while, but then it stopped. Yeah. Because it's like, you'll get, like...
consistently showing up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look who's here. And then, like, you're there for a couple months, and it's like, oh, they're still there.
And guess what? If you're one that's consistently showing up and working, and there's someone that is, like, making fun of you, and they're not, guess which one I'm going to kick out of the weight room? Like, I'm not going to kick the one that's working hard, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're gonna stay. We'll find accommodations for you because you're going to work. You know, like I'm for a kid that's going to be in there all the time. But if you're there once a month and you call me, hey, can you come into the weight room on a Saturday or Sunday? Like, no, my bed feels way more comfortable than that cushiony chair. Even though those chairs they got in there, we got some nice cushiony chairs. You know, but you know, my butt can only get so flat. At 41. So, well, we're already in the weight room, and as Kip mentioned, you were what, 2 years ago?
2 years ago, I was
near the weights, and then we had Molinex. Molinex took off on us, and then we have Coach Ruskell is in there now. Let's see, I ran the weight room last summer here, and then I ran the weight program at Ballard with Coach Christian for 6 years, and by myself for about a year and a half.
Kind of helped out your first year.
Yeah, and I'm always there.
You open
taking over and I was kind of there. So.
You open it at 5:30. I show up at 6.
Yeah, I've been opening it for the 3 years I've been here. I don't think I missed probably 3 days. My alarm didn't go off one day. So this bull crap of kids saying, "Well, my alarm didn't go off." Well, guess what? For three years, it happened to me one time. So if it happens to you more than once in a month, we got alarm issues.
You can kind of set up a schedule during my year, like.
Yeah, we kind of.
And I would take like a Thursday, I would take
Yeah.
Tuesday, and you'd take Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
And then after school, I did a little more after school. Now we don't really have the after school program. But with the weight room, I think that's something we can talk about for days. I would just start off with what's your kind of your philosophy in the weight room? Mine's always been pick up heavy things and set heavy things down. I'm not one for I know Coach Molinex is more of a body movement type more than the powerlifting and stuff and the Olympic movements. But what's kind of your philosophy if we went into your weight room and saw your kids working?
I would say a mix between you and Molinex. I enjoy the heavy lifts, obviously, but I also like a focus on flexibility and balance. So a lot of isometric movements, and then I'm also big into hypertrophy. So like, I think obviously you lift for strength, you lift for endurance, you lift for tone, the old school method. Hypertrophy I like because you can get all of those things and still see benefits everywhere. So I'm bigger on hypertrophy personally, but yeah, the big one is definitely balance and flexibility, fluidity. If you can't do full range of motion, we're going to sit and do full range of motion with body weight until you get that full range of motion. So like doing split squats, you got that leg up on the bench, that knee better be touching the ground. If not, put that weight down, whatever you're doing. We're doing body weight until you can. All right, body weight, cool, grab a 10 now. Just grab something. Once we stop seeing that full range of motion, then we don't go up weight until we do. Because if you're not getting that full range, everybody likes hitting those little quarter curls.
Get that back.
Get that pump, yeah. It's like, all right, I guarantee you do your curls your way with 75 pounds. Do it your way. I guarantee the Joe over here that listens to me does 30 pounds instead of 75, but gets full range of motion, is tight form, only using the biceps. I guarantee we're getting way more progress out of this.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the range of motion, you're working more the full muscle instead of
working your stabilizers.
That's curls for girls. Yeah, but for me, I feel like I'm old school because I grew up with the old like Olympic lifts. There's no need to do hang cleans or anything like that. Like you're going to get it from the bench, squat, curls, things like that. And then I went to college, similar to the same time as you guys, and I kind of started progressing into this. I don't know if it's a new age way of looking at it. I mean, everything's progressing all the time. Do you think that's kind of the how it kind of differs with like Molinex and you having more of the flexibility, the agility aspect because of the changing of the teaching?
I think so. Because like you look at Westside Barbell or something, it was lift heavy weight every day, max out.
I love that stuff. That's
now it's like, hey, we do this like once every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then we'd say, but like going into like flexibility, when were you at Iowa State?
I graduated 2020.
Okay. So I know I worked with a lady when I was at my last job. She'd come in and do yoga for the kids. She's like, oh yeah, my daughter does yoga with the football team. I'm like, huh? She's like, yeah, like Wednesday or Tuesday or something, they have a yoga day.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you're seeing, like, you look at Brian Shaw, strongest man in the world, he does yoga. It's like you see flexibility because there's so much benefits to training the muscle. And I don't think that's even a way of coaching. I think it's just there's more science put into it because more people started lifting. So it's becoming more mainstream. So then you get more people wanting to look at the structure of muscle and how it's worked to the fullest capacity rather than lift heavy weight, you're going to get big and strong. Now you lift heavy weight, more muscle is strong.
How are you going to move with that?
Yeah, how are you going to... We want functional mobility rather than just strength, especially in athletes, functional mobility rather than just being big and bulky.
I've kind of got into I'm a big Tony Holler believer.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff. But compared to what I was taught to now, where we used to grind like crazy. And now it's like, well, I don't want you to be tired for the end product. Mm-hmm. We're not burning steaks, we're trying to prepare for a game on Friday. If we burn you out all week, you're going to have 50% in the tank and we're not going to get nothing out of you.
That's a balance I struggle with.
I mean, that's the hardest part because I want these kids to be that big and strong, but I think the aspect of that flexibility and like building that rubber band, how loose are you, how tight are you? Mm-hmm. That perfect rubber band is that one you got on your wrist for a week, not that one you just put on.
Yeah, you can't get your hand through it. You're doing this number.
Yeah, and then you got that flimsy one that just falls down to your elbow. It gets caught on everything, and that's when it finally snaps, and that's no good. So I kind of see the aspects of it, but God, it's just so much funner just seeing lots of weight just getting moved.
Well, and two, it's like to your point, you said like, oh, we got to worry about game day and stuff. There's science out there, and there's not enough for me to, like, I coach based off of science. I see some stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, and I'll implement it for myself, and I'm like, damn, that's awesome, I really like that. But then there's not enough, like, backing behind it to say, like, no, this is beneficial, or this could hurt you, so it's like, okay, I'm not going to do it for the kids. But, like, there's enough science out there that shows if you go heavy all the time, your body's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to reach, like, those dangerous levels unless it's like repetitive. Like if I bench every single day, heavy every single day, yeah, obviously. But if I mix up the muscle variation, it's going to be fine. I'm not going to hit, like, I'm not going to get into kidney failure from working out hard every day. But your body's going to adjust to it. That's why kids are like, oh, it's game day, I need to take it easy. No, the problem is you taking it easy last week, the week before that, the week before that. If you lift heavy and you go hard every day, you're not going to feel sore from lifting heavy on game day. Your body's going to recover from it. If you don't lift heavy all the time, then you try to lift heavy or you try to work out on game day when you're not used to working out on game day, yeah, you're going to be sore because your body's not used to it. Your body will adapt to the pressure. So, like, I want to try to find a balance with that old school because I love the old school. Work hard all the time, every day. Like, talk to Weiser. Weiser's like, I maxed out, like, every game day. It's like, like, yeah, we need to find a nice balance of that. Work hard all the time and still produce or perform on the field because our body's adapted to it.
I like how you said bench every day, and it's like, it's probably going to hurt you in the long run.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't that be the same as specializing in a sport and playing that sport all the time, using the same muscle groups
100%.
All the time? And, I'm going to swing this softball bat or baseball bat, or I'm going to shoot this bat. Like, you're doing the same movement. Doing the same movement is going to hurt you. I did like how you brought up, because we've talked about in other episodes about game day lifts, things like that. I want to know, your opinion, where do you think that came from, where they shouldn't be lifting on game days? Because every single coach that I've talked to, every single one's like, lift on game day, it's fine. Like, lift on game day, it's fine. Where is it? Club coaches that are saying this stuff because they're not as educated as they should be. As most, because honestly, a club coach is a glorified dad or a guy that played basketball and he's like, this is how I did it. I had God's gift to basketball. So that's why I was so good. I didn't try. I didn't have to do this. Where do you think that aspect where the kids are like, well, I can't lift. I can't lift on a game day?
It has to come from, like, uneducated coaches. And, like, no shot on coach. Like, you can be the greatest coach. Greg Popovich, greatest basketball coach of all time. I know we don't like basketball.
We like it. We just don't care.
All right, whatever. Greatest basketball coach of all time. I don't think anybody will question it.
No.
John Wooden, greatest basketball. You put them in the weight room, though. I don't think they know what they're talking about. So, like, you might coach your sport better than anything. And, like, when it comes to your sport, you are excellent at it. You know everything there is to it. Weight room is pretty much like a year-round sport.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you're training all the time. The most important part for any sport is the work you do in the weight room. Like, obviously, skills and fundamentals and stuff, but, like, if you're not working hard in the weight room, you're probably not going to see a transfer. Like, there's rare cases, but for the most part, if you're not working hard in there, you're not going to see the results you want on the field, on the court, whatever it is.
Yeah, so you'd still be able to do those things, but, like, you wouldn't be able to do them to a top tier, like hitting a baseball or doing double leg. I guarantee you can do a double leg, but can you drive it through that guy and finish the double leg? Things like that.
Yeah, so I think it comes from coaches whether it's a club coach or just a coach, and it's like, hey, we have a track meet, we have a baseball game tomorrow. Take it easy in the weight room. Don't go too hard. Just get a stretch in or something. It's game day. It's like, no, just warm up your muscles and get a lift, and you're going to be better for it. Like, that is, like, as long as you stretch. Yeah, if you go in max out squat or whatever, and then you just don't stretch and you sit in a chair all day, you're going to be messed up.
Well, I had a kid
stretch after.
I had a kid tell me he needed to take practice off on Thursday and Friday because they had a big tournament that weekend. And I was like, well, you take our practice off, you're not playing Monday. And he was our best player.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, this is what my coach told me I need to do.
It's like, no,
like,
I'm your coach.
I'm your coach. So you can practice mine. You can sit out their practices.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, we got things we got to work on. I'm like, I don't care. Like, so you're not playing Monday. The dad called me. The dad wrote an email to the school, and the school happily they backed me. And it's like, no, if he doesn't practice, he's not playing.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, I don't know if it's parents or what. It's overuse of the kids.
Yeah,
is one thing. But I swear, every coach I've talked to believes in lifting on game days.
Yeah.
Like that it's okay. If you give the proper amount of time. I mean, you're not going to go do powerlifting an hour before the game.
Yeah.
You're gonna do body movements and stuff like that. But
Kip, just type in, is it bad to lift on game day? Because Google has a funny way where it'll pull up specific. Game day lift allows for their athletes to get moving and begin the pregame nervous system ramp up before competition.
Well, and I've been honestly thinking about moving. So most teams do their. Chip Kelly, he was, I think, the first guy to really preach about it, was having our walkthrough day on Wednesday and then going back to a shell practice,
Like a
shoulder
harder
pads and
practice
helmets
the day before.
on Thursday, because then you're ramping your system back up, your nervous system and all that, and you're building out adrenaline instead of coming down and then trying to shoot back
It's about
up.
peaking, yeah.
Yeah, so you're actually coming down on Wednesday, and then you're not completely coming back up on Thursday, but the adrenaline will take you from that 75, 80% you got to on Thursday to the 100% you need on game day.
Chip Kelly never had a JV game where
Yeah, that's true. We got things we got to get done on a Wednesday. But, it would almost, for us, because we practice Wednesday mornings, wouldn't be that bad to have a walkthrough on Wednesday and then come back Thursday, have a little longer practice.
Get after it.
And get after a little bit more and have our defensive focus practice on Wednesday. But I like to have full go on when we're at defense.
Yeah.
We're going to hit somebody on those days.
I mean, it's different strokes for different folks.
And it's really, because I wrote this down, it was something I was going to, and we kind of been touching on the cross-sport training. The old adage added that it was strength and conditioning compared to would you refer to it as now athletic performance? I've heard that a few coaches. That's our athletic performance class. It's not strength conditioning or weights class anymore. It's athletic performance.
I would say it is. I still call it strength and conditioning, but yeah, it's athletic performance 100%.
Well, it's almost like that sports personship. It just hasn't got into your vocabulary yet. I don't know if you guys had that in college. We were told to change our vocabulary from sportsmanship to sports personship.
Yeah.
And we'd actually get deducted points on essays if we didn't put sports personship.
Yeah.
I just thought it was crazy.
Well,
but it's just that the verbiage hasn't changed completely yet.
I would say so, because I mean, so like with my classes, I have students that are not out for any athletics or anything. They're just taking because they either want to try lifting, or they enjoy lifting, or they want to get in shape. Whatever their reason is, they took weights. And honestly, some of those kids are the hardest working ones. It's like, yeah, they don't have the numbers if you look at numbers wise, but they're in there for their purpose. That's their purpose. They're going to work hard at it. Might not be the greatest numbers in showing, but they're going to work hard. Same thing with if you go to summer weights, why are you there? Because you're an athlete and you want to get better at athletics and you want to work out. So there's sports performance reasoning for you being in the weight room. So with that training, yeah, and like I tell the kids at the beginning of the semester, beginning of year, if you want to be a bodybuilder, go do it on your own time. I can help you, I can coach you, and I can teach you how to be a bodybuilder, but that's not me. I'm not going to do it. If you want to be an athlete, we're going to work out like athletes.
Well, that's going to help them in the flexibility aspect. You're probably going to end up lifting more because your body can move better than just lifting heavy things.
Well, and I was never I had to work hard to become average at sports. I was terribly unathletic growing up.
I worked hard. My brother was just God-given natural abilities. Like, hey, thanks.
Yeah, I had to work on technique, and I had to do everything the right way. So yeah, when it comes to whether it was in high school and I'm going against one of the top recruits for Northwestern at a camp, and I'm bullying him on the boards, coaches are like, why is this 210-pound center just bullying this 250-pound kid? Way stronger than me. Because I got good technique, and I'm gonna move my body in a certain way. You can bench all you want. You're not gonna be able to just straight up push me.
Yeah.
Same thing when I got to college. We had this dude. I think my most bench I ever did was 295, and then my shoulder stopped working, so I couldn't do more. But then we got the guy. He's benching 370, and Guess who's taking on one-on-ones? Oh, no one else wants to do it? All right, I guess
Yeah.
I'll do it. Guess
Right.
who's winning? Me, because I know how to actually move my body and control my body. What does he know? How to be strong as hell.
Yeah, I mean, and that's very true. I've always said technique trumps everything. It's even in like wrestling. You get a guy. I remember the Sundell brothers. Like he come walking out. He had a cowboy hat on, those bottle cap glasses. Like I'm like, look at this nerd. And then he just go
Not
out
a
and
muscle to his
wreck
body.
people. Dude, he was a 4-time state champ. Like, how are you doing this? But yeah, it's just getting the work done. With our weight room, with our weight program, we have the strength class. I think one downfall to that is the short periods. We're a period school instead of a block period. I think I've said it to you before that I think they should have weights classes be 2 periods and then offer it 4 times a day. So you got 8 periods, right? Four blocks, because you can only get so much done. I think another way to look at it is you have that sports lifting time. And then if there's a kid that just wants to learn how to, like you were saying, they're not in any sports, they just want to later in life be able to lift and know how to make a program for themselves. That might be a 43-minute class, right? Because you're not going to go in there and sweat and get after it. I feel like the athletics performance classes, you need to get after it like that. What do you feel? That's probably a tough question. Are we lacking here at Red Oak in the weight room? Like, what do you think do you feel we need equipment wise, sport coaches wise, just in the weight room general, kids wise, to kind of turn the corner? I think that's we've all kind of talked about it on the podcast in person. That's kind of what holds us back here is just the strength aspect of everything. So where do you think we are now? What do we need to do to get to where you think we need to be? And I'm going to say my opinion is probably pretty close to what you're going to answer.
I'd imagine all three of us are probably right there about together. But I'm the guest. So my word is law today.
And you're in the fire. You're in that fire every day over there. And Kip's been in that fire too, so he knows exactly the pain you're going through. But no, just it kind of goes with your philosophy. But where do you think we are now? Where do we need to do to head in the right direction?
Facility wise, we're fine. There's stuff that I want, but it's not like needs. Like I have a list on my Google Docs that I sent off to Samson, and they haven't responded, so I'm about to send off to other weight. Like whatever. I wanted everything to be Samson because we have Samson. Samson, if you're listening, email me back.
I guarantee they are.
Like
Powerlift's listening too. Go ahead, we'll take whatever stuff you just happen to have laying around.
I'm about to go to Powerlift because I emailed Samson. I was like, "Here's my list. What's the price that it's going to cost?" And I'll start fundraising. But like, it's that list is stuff. It's just bonuses. Like we can do everything we want to do in the way I want, like a leg curl, leg extension machine. That's strictly, I'm never going to use that in a workout. That's for PT purposes. Like we have kids that hurt a leg or something. We don't have machines that allow them to still work out. So then it's, I guess I'll just do single leg squats or single leg RDLs or something, but I can't use my other leg. It's like, yeah, that's fine, but we still want some strength there. So it's stuff like that and just added stuff that would make it better, but it's not needed. Everything that we have in the weight room, we're fine with. Like we can make work and it gets everything accomplished that we need. And I know places that have a lot less than us that do just fine. The biggest thing is buy-in, either to the weights in general or to the program. Because one, we need coaches buy-in. Like, hey, get to shout out Angie Montgomery, but she didn't push it every day. So if you look back at the numbers, we averaged 11 guys a day over last summer. We averaged 23 girls, I think, but they were only there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday when they had practice. Volleyball in the morning. So they go to volleyball, Angie would be like, all right, go lift. And then they'd go lift. Friday, when they didn't have that stuff, we only saw like 4 girls. So it's like, okay, we need that buy-in every day now instead of just, hey, you're here, now go lift. So we need that buy-in from the coaches. I would like to see them in there. So like, even if you've never like lifted before in your life, if you've never done any sort of study, like obviously I've been studying this stuff for the last 10 years of my life. Coach, you've studied it forever. Kip, you've studied it. Like, if you've never studied this stuff, yeah, you don't have to go in and form a workout for us, but like go in and just make a presence so like the kids know, yeah, you care about it too. So we get the buy-in there. Then we need the buy-in from the students themselves. Hey, 1, show up. 2, trust the process. Because one thing with the kids that do show up, they don't trust the process. It's, with this awesome world of TikTok and Twitter and everything. Everybody's a specialist. Everybody's a genius at anything.
Yep.
And
there's millions of
it's just so much
weightlifting influencers.
Oh, that's all you see now.
95% of it is just crap.
And it's just, it's getting that buy-in. Like you talked about, we have 40-minute classes. I give them time to change before and after. So at the end of it, we have like a 32-minute workout. And I've talked to some athletes. I'm like, does this workout suck because it's 32 minutes? Sure. Would I love an hour? 100%. An hour, I guarantee you get everything you need. But I promise you, I worked tirelessly on these 30-minute workouts. If you actually do the workouts, do the weight you're supposed to do, they're designed specifically for sports. So you're going to get better at sports, and you're going to see progress. The ones that actually did the weights, they went up the week we were supposed to go up, all that stuff, their numbers shot up between maxes, like 20, 30 pounds.
Oh, and you can do a solid strength workout or endurance workout in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, really, if you're going a 3x3 or a 4x3 set to rep, and then giving a 1 minute rest in between because you don't need that 2 to 3 minute rest, you can get a lot done in 30 minutes.
Yeah, those 30-minute workouts, like if you actually push yourself, you might not be like exhausted because one, I'm not doing like an upper body, lower body. That's if you're an athlete, stop training that. Stop going stop focusing on chest and bicep one day.
Oh, today I got back and shoulders.
Yeah, like what do we do? Train like an athlete. So
push pull day.
Yeah, like I hear all the time.
This game, I'm only going to use my back and shoulders. Like, I'm only that's the only way I'm playing this. What you got to run? Like, no, just my back and shoulders.
I'm just doing this a lot today.
If I go really fast, I might fly to first base.
I hear that all the time with the workouts, and it's like, well, why are we doing bicep and hamstring on the same day? Because you're an athlete and you use those muscles all the time. What do you mean? How about you just do the workout and we'll see what happens? Because you're doing everything a day. Why? Because you have 30 minutes. So you want a chest workout in 30 minutes? You can get a pretty decent chest workout in 30 minutes. Yeah. But you're only going to do that one time a day? Or can you work your chest 2 or 3 times this week because you didn't focus on it? Now you're hitting every muscle group 3 times in the week, even more technically because you're working as stabilizers. So it's like, we're working full body every day. But you're working full body in every sport you do, too. You're not focused on stuff. So you should be working full body every day. Stop listening to TikTokers that think that. I tell you what. You show me a TikToker you watch. You show me, send them a DM. Be like, hey, send over your credentials. Let me see that degree in kinesiology, that degree in strength and conditioning. Let me see those certificates that say they know what they're talking about. All right, fine. Go do their workout. I don't care anymore. Show me the credentials. And because you look at that and then you got people that have workouts from schools and stuff. It's like, oh, that's weird. It looks really similar to my workout. That's kind of crazy. I would have never guessed. It's like, where do you think I get my workouts from? I look up every major program and combine workouts and I've studied it for 10 years and I'm taking workouts from actual people, not just saw it on TikTok. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm big on. I'll go find a PDF of University of Oklahoma does this, Missouri does this, Iowa State does this. Well, guess what? They're all doing the same thing. Now we have 3 different movements that we can do throughout a whole summer, and now we're not getting stagnant of doing. We're just going to do back squat. Right now we can add in tempo squat. We can add in a chain squat. We can add in a banded squat. We can add in front squat. Some of the workouts they have are they're expecting to go do David Goggins' workout. Yeah. When they're not even David Goggins in 3rd grade.
They're not even Dave.
Yeah, they're not even Dave Gogg. They're just David. They're expecting something to work more than it is, and I used to always tell the kids because athletes. They're like, well, I'm going to just do my own workout. And it's like, no, you're going to do the team workout because that's what we're doing right now. Well, I just want to do my workout because I'm working this today.
Fine, do it on your own.
And some of these guys are planning to go play at the next level. And it's like, do you realize if you did that to another coach, A, they're going to laugh at you, or B, they're just going to go somewhere else. Because there's a point why it's not about getting bigger when you're lifting as a team. It's the bond. It's the doing the same stuff, cheering each other on, building that camaraderie.
If you want to lift on your own and you're like, I need a bigger bicep pump, okay, go do it on your own. Yeah. But when you're here, you're lifting with the team. You're getting every athletic thing you need here. If you want to just be bigger and whatever, and you want to focus on biceps, chest, whatever, Okay, you can do that on your own still.
Yeah.
It's not going to hinder you here. As long as you're still doing the athletic stuff, you're going to be fine if you do the extra.
Yeah.
If you only focus on the extra, you're going to be hindered over here with the athletic stuff.
Yeah, and I feel like our football guys, the morning guys, they're starting to figure it out to where, okay, I'm going to do athletic movements in class.
Yep.
So in the morning, I'm going to do my deadlifts. I'm going to do my back squats for weight, not for tempo, because I'm going to get my strength here, and then we're going to use that strength for movement later. And it's awesome because now they get it their hour and a half. Do three reps and sit on your butt for 5 minutes looking on your phone to do your next 3 reps because they're doing power at that point, right? So it makes sense for taking a little longer breaks. But I'm getting kind of happy with our weight room in the morning. The last couple months, this second semester, I think kids have kind of bought in. It's a younger crowd, but it's a little bit more.
You're seeing the results on whatever sport they're out for.
Yeah, and it kind of some of the stuff we see in the morning. Like that's what people, I think, other coaches are missing. You mentioned like they don't have to have the knowledge, but just them stopping in, showing that they care for the program you're putting in and the time you're putting into to their program, right? And then also the kids are going to see them showing up and been like, oh, we better put the work in here too because
that's what I'm doing it for.
Yeah,
I'm doing it for that guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, because I'll be there every day for at least for the football aspect of it because I think and that many kids. It's kind of nice to have somebody else, another set of eyes in there. You can't watch. What do you got? 7 racks. It's tough to watch 7 racks as one person because even if you get on one end and how they teach us in college, get to your viewpoints, Yeah, you might have that viewpoint where you can see rack 7 all the way up the end, but you don't know what knucklehead Joe, Larry, and Curly are doing behind the corner in that rack. You know,
That's if you go to my classroom, I'm sitting on the plates at the end because one, I can see the whole room, and spoiler alert. I'm not watching you guys not lift. If you're not lifting, I don't care. I'm not watching you. I'm watching the people that are lifting so I can make sure they're doing it right.
Yep.
And if you see me move, it's probably because I see something that they need to change or I'm like, hey, you're doing this great. Good job.
I definitely made a mental note that Kipley is not working at all today, so that's why he would be getting a 0.
Literally.
I noticed Ruskell is doing part of the work, but he's only got 115 on the bench, and he can do well over 2, so that's half credit. You know,
I always love why'd I get a 0 today? Oh, you only did these 2 lifts. No, I did these. I didn't see what you lifted, how much weight. I can tell you I saw you grab a bar and do these 2 things. That's it. The entire time. And that's only 2 sets. That doesn't even count. I gave you credit for that, though.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, it happens in class, too, because building those boats, we had kids telling me, like, I was like, well, I just saw you do nothing for the past 2 days. Well, yeah, I did. I was like, what'd you do? Show me. Well, I put this piece of tape on there.
Yeah.
Like, piece. You didn't say pieces. You literally said piece. Were the words out of your mouth. So, no, I agree. It's holding each other accountable. Because I feel like it's tough holding kids accountable in the weight room. Because it's an aspect that we can't force on them. It's actually an optional thing for sports. So if you're hard on them in the weight room, it's something that's like, well, I don't have to be here because it's not a requirement to play. And that's what a lot of these kids are like. If I'm not required to do it, why do it?
Yeah, and we don't have enough kids to make it a requirement.
Yeah.
Like you go to like Southeast Polk where they have 100 guys on the football team. Hey, if you're not here, you don't play.
And then those kids are like, well, I guess I just won't play. Like,
yeah, cool.
Like, okay.
See you in class.
Yeah.
See you in the hallways. Like,
see, I'll still be cordial with you and nice, but it is what it is. And the weight room isn't for everybody.
No.
But if you want to be, I don't want to say talented in sports, but if you want to live a long and happy life, in general, being physically active is going to help. I mean,
I get my blood work done all the time to see how out of shape I am. Guess who's got perfect scores pretty much all the time? This fat out of shape guy. Because I actually I might not look it, but I've done it my whole life, so I'm in pretty good. I got a good base layer built where I can kind of slack on these days and then hit it hard when I can. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, we'll carry on with the topic of the weight room, and let's go ahead and hop on our top 5 because I think we're We're pushing some time here tonight, boys.
Yeah, we're getting into it.
Kip, you're supposed to keep us on track here.
Yeah, that's
You gotta let it
that's
flow.
one of your 50 jobs,
Let
Kip.
it flow.
So this week, our top 5 with the big talk of weights, we went with our must-have songs on our weightlifting playlist. So this isn't our favorite songs. This is the must-have when we're lifting. Obviously, we won't be able to play them for you. I'm doing a little better job of putting charts on, so maybe I'll put the list of everybody's on the screen so you can at least look them up and see what we got. I'll go first. I'm going to bust out. Me and Ruskell talked about this earlier in the week that we might have to have like 20 honorable mentions because there's just too many good songs. I kind of clumped mine together. I have 3 for you. My 3 honorable mentions are the Rocky IV soundtrack. Just
Banger.
You can't go wrong with any of those songs. Get some Kenny Loggins going and you're solid. 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. That whole
Fantastic.
album. I mean, you can't go wrong with that either. I used to cruise around in my Ford Tempo GL 5-speed 1983, banging that with my 6x9s in the back window. And then, if I'm not going to listen to music, a great verbo or audio is David Goggins' A Warrior Mindset. It's about a 1 hour, just David Goggins just yelling at you for 1 hour, and it gets you right. Do not try and listen to it before going to bed. So my number 5 is just going to be pretty basic vanilla. That it's AC/DC, Hell's Bells. You just start hearing those bells start dinging, and you're just like, okay, all right, get that weight on because I'm about to hit it.
About to max out.
My number 5 is AC/DC, Hell's Bells.
So I think this will be interesting because 20s, 30s, 40s. So like we all kind of have a similar background, but I think our ages maybe show. Or
I'm 30. Thank you.
you're 30 now. Okay, you're getting older.
Get out there, bub.
We all graduated in different
Different eras.
Yeah.
So my honorable mention, I had just AC/DC in general, Guns N' Roses, and DMX. So I don't have any of those. Then Eminem, I didn't have any of those in my top 5. But Till I Collapse and Cinderella Man are kind of 2 favorites that were probably going to be 6 and 7. But my number 5, Coming Undone by Korn.
Fantastic.
Nice.
I'm coming.
That's a good one.
I can just hear it in my head and it's kind of one of my more favorite weight room songs. Just if I hear that song, I like mentally transport to a weight
Yeah.
room.
It's almost like that Phil Collins in there tonight. You're just like, okay.
All right, let's go.
Something good's about to happen.
Like I don't know if I can tell you a bunch of other Korn songs, but
Hey, that's the only one you need.
that one.
Yeah, I saw him live in concert one time. That was pretty good. Them and Slipknot. And I got in the
People
pit.
die.
Yeah, I was in the
Yeah.
pit. I used to be a little young and spry back in the day.
Back in the day, Slipknot averaged like 2 deaths per
Yeah.
concert. Whether it was mosh pit or like ODs, it's like that's insane.
I also knew Corey Taylor on a personal level, but that's a whole nother podcast story.
Tune in next week. My honorable mention, the same kind of thought with your David Goggins. I have 1 classical music, just some nice orchestra music because it's been studies have shown to release certain endorphins and it's nice to lift.
Well, and
Kind
it's
of
the
a
roller
weird-
coaster ride of it.
Yeah.
Like the flight of the bumblebee. Like,
Yeah.
like you get those peaks that you need.
If you know the song, you know exactly when to start lifting to it, so
Yeah.
it's perfect.
That 300 violin orchestra. I like
Every huddle. I played that in the weight room one day. They're like, "What is this?" I was like, "This is the huddle highlight film." They're like, "What?" And they pull up some random film. Oh, it is. Yeah.
Got it.
Classical music, like motivational speeches, like David Goggins, Jocko, Joe Rogan's got some heaters.
Yeah.
Eric Taylor is another good one. He's a traveling guy. And then an actual song, "Heavy as the Crown" by Daughtry. The song itself is good, but the words, like if you actually listen to the words, you're like, yeah, this is why I'm lifting. Like I'm in here for this song. Like this is the purpose of the song. But it's just like it's a nice song that if you don't listen to or like really listen to, you can still lift to. If you really listen to and listen to the message, you're like, yeah, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, Kip over here adding songs to his list.
I got a playlist of that.
He's like,
I was
oh
ready to
man,
play
I got
songs.
He's like, ooh, playlist
I
time.
haven't heard that.
You know, listen to these later in bed. Just like, there we go.
He'll be in
I'll go hit some quarter curls.
He'll be in the cold tub sauna movement tonight and be like, woo, yeah.
Oh, my number 5. I didn't even say that. Number 5, I don't know if either one of you heard this. Reload by Colt Ford.
Yeah. Yeah, Colt
It's-
Ford. Oh yeah.
It's like a song where you're like, this is the dumbest song ever, but like I think this would be the greatest walkout song. Like it's a great weight room song. It's just you listen to it and you're like, I'm ready to fight or something.
When I was at you guys, I think you do it in the weight room and in wrestling. Where we had our days, so it was country rap day, and it was like just all Colt Ford,
Big
like
Schmo Colt Ford.
just the whole hour was just them, and it lasted probably like a month, and they're like, coaches the same songs over and over. I was like, because it's all we got. Like,
There's not a lot of country rap out.
We just listen to country, and I'm like, sure, like that's fine.
Jelly Roll's not a thing yet.
Yeah, he wasn't there around
Yeah,
yet.
no, you got Jelly Roll. You got 3 artists now: Big Schmo, Colt Ford, and Jelly Roll.
Colt Ford, Big Schmo was a little bit, and then you go on YouTube and you can find some like low name guys that just have like they're making a music video with their buddies in a mud pit on a Sunday afternoon. So all right, so number 4, I'm gonna go with Eminem, "Lose Yourself." There's plenty of Eminem songs that can go on the list. Kip mentioned a couple of them, but "Lose Yourself" is kind of that. It's got that kind of build up to just all right. Now it's time to hammer the metal. So Eminem, "Lose Yourself" is number 4 for me.
So I remember this song came when I was in high school. I'm gonna say for my freshman, sophomore year, so it was like 2006.
Mbop.
Kind of synonymous with maybe more football. "Let's Go" by Trick Daddy featuring Lil Jon and Twista.
That was our run-out song for the first 2 years I was here.
That was everybody's run-out song from whenever it came out to 2012. It was everybody was all right. Let's go. Yeah, not appropriate.
They do now have a football version of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I'm a big Twista fan. I like his rapping style because he just
goes.
and Trick Daddy, and they just get after it.
My number 4, it's kind of a weird one, but there's a killer drop at the end. "Bring Me to Life" by Evanescence. It's just a nice mellow song the whole time. It's like, all right, I'll get some reps, and then there's a breakdown at the end. It's like, all right, now I'm gonna actually pump out some weight. Here we go.
That's what they're one of the Evanescence. Like you'd be hanging out with your buddies like in high school, and that song come on, you're all just like.
You're like, what a dumb song, and then you're
like
all
30
singing
seconds
it.
later, you're all like hitting the high points and everything. Oh yeah.
That and Creed.
Yeah, Creed. I went to a Creed concert.
I'm still contemplating their comeback tour.
Creed, "Three Doors Down." It was, and we sat there and with arms wide open, they started singing that song, and me and my buddy are just sitting there like we're upper deck at Hilton, and we're just like, yeah, good song. Look over this girl next to me, and she's like just bawling, crying, singing every word. I'm like, switch me seats, dude. Like switch me seats.
I'd be that girl.
And she was by herself. Like she was seat 1, we were seats 2, 3, and 4, and I'm like, she came to Creed. I'm like.
I'd be that girl. I love me some Creed.
It's that underground, like, hey, like everybody actually likes Creed, but they just
nobody wants to admit it.
wants to admit it.
Creed and Nickelback.
Nickelback, stupid. Oh, how come you know 10 songs?
You know every word.
How can you sing the whole album? Number 3. It's a little different than my other songs. I went with Michael Jackson. "They Don't Care About Us." It was my junior year. Our coach used to always he'd tell you one more song when we were in the locker room, and we'd play one more song, and then it's kind of cool at Rolling Story. We had a hallway, so you came in this door from the school, but you walked out this other door, and you walked through this hallway, and then you open these doors, and it just opened up to the world, and we came out the side of the building, so it was only a football entrance. So we played one more song. In my junior year, they played "Don't Care About Us," and I don't know. It doesn't have that loud and like that corn style, that power lifting, but it's just that it makes you like, man, nobody cares about me, so I'm gonna get shredded today.
Yeah. It's got the beat to it.
I
didn't know about it until it's on our like football practice playlist. So that's why I'm like,
I have it on my
look at
list.
Yeah, it's always good when you hear somebody's playlist and you're like, I don't like when people are like, hey, listen to these songs. It's like, just play the damn playlist and let me listen, and I'll be like, okay, I'll write that song down.
I'll add it.
Number 3, Kip.
so mine's another one probably synonymous with like lifting heavy stuff in the weight room. Seen him in concert twice. Place goes nuts. Disturbed, Down with the Sickness.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Kind of see it. Now that I've gone to concert, I transport to the concert, but it's like you hear the ooh ah. I can't. Not doing justice at all. So I'm gonna try it.
Not even gonna try to be
But
a
it's
screamer
like,
right now.
It makes me want to go put
Stop
some
while
heavy
you're
weight
in.
on the bar.
Yeah, my number 3, is the Jungle remix by X Ambassadors and featuring Jay-Z. Jungle by X Ambassadors, great song alone. You had Jay-Z where he adds that hip-hop music to it, and then he hits a verse in there, and you're like, woo, all right, here we go.
This is what I'm talking
Great
about.
song.
I just thought of this, too, because made me think because you're a Wisconsin fan, how important music is to a weight room. We went on a tour of Camp Randall. That's the football stadium for Wisconsin. And we walked by the weight room, and there's guys working out in there, and it was all glass. And the lady's like, what do you think the most expensive piece of equipment in there? And I'm looking in there, and I'm like, it's definitely your jammer machines, because they had all the computer systems on there. And the lady's like, well, actually, you're right, but you're wrong. The most expensive part is the speaker system. She opens the door, and it was like, whoa! Remember those Dolby surround sound commercials? Like, you couldn't hear us. You could hear a pin drop, and then she opened those doors, and it was so loud. But that just because Wisconsin fan, I just remember that. But it's that important to a weight room is proper music.
It literally doesn't even have to, like my next song. It's crazy, but like it doesn't even have to be like a crazy. It can be the dumbest song ever, and you're still just like.
Well, what's the push-up song? Bring Sally up. I love it. If I heard that in high school, I was like, oh crap, it's on. You just get down. You just know. So number 2 for me, probably the newest song on my list. I went with Future, Commas, because I always just think of what was it, Last Chance U, and they're getting off the bus.
You have to
and
write that one down.
They're playing the songs on there.
I'm not any rap in the last
and it's
10 years.
There's choice words in it. I mean, it's a very explicit song, but
one of his most probably because he doesn't cuss a lot.
Yeah, but it's like beeps and commas all day long. So it's a Future, Commas.
This one I didn't really learn till college. My cousin, Cody, shout out Cody Lowe, he would blast it in his car. Can't Be Touched by Roy Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Not going to be explicit as well, but
that's on our,
it just gets me pumped. Like, even the instrumental will just get me pumped.
That's on our football playlist, too. Last season.
Can't Be Touched just makes me want to run through a wall.
I have another honorable mention just because of that. I'm worried it might be on your guys' list, so I won't say it till the end. But number 2 goes, you said They Don't Care About Us, another Michael Jackson song. Beat It. If you ever hear Beat It in the weight room, you're like, why is this playing? I PR'd in high school every time that song came. Anytime I PR'd, Beat It was on. For some reason, it was just that dumb beat. I could get lost into it, and then I could just go.
So what if Weird Al Eat It?
I'd be like, oh, heck yeah. And then I'd hear it and be like, I don't know about this anymore.
I don't know.
Just eat it. Eat it. I'm like, all right, well.
That's it, yeah. I mean, people listen to some weird stuff. I mean, if you walk by and unplug people's, well, you can't do it anymore because they don't have connected headphones, but pop out their headphone, be like, what are you listening to Shania Twain for? You know, so it gets some good ones.
We have girls listen. Like, hey, if you can get pumped up to Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus, I'll play it.
Do it.
It's going to get you hyped up.
That's what gets you there. That's cool.
My need to play before a wrestling match in high school was I'm Blue by Eiffel 65. And, I would be bobbing my head during the warm-ups and, hitting a nice little flow state. And everybody on my team knew, I'm Blue came on. And they're like, what? Why is that your song? I'm just like, I don't know, man. I can hit a nice flow with it.
Yeah. I looked up good pump-up songs, and there were, Nappy Roots and everything on there. I'm like, this ain't a pump-up song. This is, melting your couch music. Yeah. But, so number 1. My number 1 is probably the number 1 song, guaranteed. Rammstein, Du Hast. Is that not the number 1 weight room song ever? Guaranteed you've all lived to it. You've all heard it 572,000 times in the weight room. It's Du Hast. Du Hast mich. It's the number 1 weight room song.
Don't gonna write that one down, do you, Kip?
No. Makes me think of Triple X with Vin Diesel.
Hey, it's number 1.
Yeah, I've definitely been in a weight room with it, been playing. I just don't know if I put number 1. So, to go off of that, we're going back to honorable mentions. Linkin Park's pretty solid. Got some, but not.
What if his was number 1? Linkin Park.
Yeah, way to care about the guest. But
I was just going out on a limb that you were going to go Linkin Park out here and the other stuff.
You know my age, and you think I'm not going Linkin Park?
It's actually going to be Incubus.
So, speaking of, it's about the same time as Incubus, but Trapped. Headstrong.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna put that on my list. I'm like, I don't know. It's up
you
there
hear that,
for sure.
Think of a weight room. I can't do anything else. So that's my big one. It's not necessarily my favorite, but it's just must have. Gotta
Yeah.
I transport to a weight room when I hear that song.
I'd go with Headstrong over.
Get out of here.
Like it's a class like our age group because you're old, you know.
Yeah, Du Haas is like we walk in the weight room, we pop in the cassette, shut it, and the first song that's playing is Du Haas because we just recorded it off the radio.
Yeah. The honorable mention I thought of was "We Ready" by Archie Eversole.
Oh, yeah.
Just that that's not even really a weight room song. That's just a classic like pregame song.
Yeah.
And that's
that was on my like list of ones I was thinking.
Yeah,
of
there it is.
Yeah, I'm ahead.
I was gonna say because like it's more of a pregame than it is a weight room. But when I think weight room, I think kind of pregame. But my number one, and like this is like just a great song in general. But anytime I'm working out, it has to play at some point. Is "Hell and Back" by Kid Ink. A little lesser known Kid Ink, not very popular.
I've heard of
but
him.
like if you know Kid Ink, you know Hell and Back. It's one of his biggest ones, and Hell and Back is my go-to. It has to play every time I lift song. It's the first one on the lifting playlist I have, so I hit play, that one plays, and then I hit shuffle, and then whatever song comes up, but that one I'll.
I've heard the name. I don't think I've ever listened to the music.
Dad, my DMX, Seven Nation Army, popular.
Narco.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a solid new one.
Yeah.
Trumpets.
Or Freak.
And Freaks.
Freak is
That was gonna be another one.
See, you can
Break
listen about
stuff.
anything.
Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit. That's where I thought you were going when you're like, this is like, you're
That's how
gets
Limp
up. I'm
Bizkit.
like, Break Stuff? No, that was good. I literally had it typed out for my honorable mention, and then I erased it. And I was like, any song.
Yeah.
Because you can lift anything. It's just your
Oh, yeah.
flavor.
Well, our team football song is The Four Tops, Indestructible. And if you sat there and listened, you're like, how is a football team listening to this song? But it all goes down to like you said, it's the audio of it, like the beat to it,
Yeah.
or you're listening to the words more. So it doesn't matter. Taylor Swift could have the greatest beat ever, and it could help you lift better. Or it could be like the greatest weightlifting song, Du Haas by Rammstein, and you're just ready to pump iron. That's just the way it goes. Well, I think we just killed it with a nice long podcast for everybody to listen to. Ruskell, appreciate you coming and hanging out.
Thanks for having
I'm
me.
sure you're going to have a fun, exciting filled summer with weights and softball. And
I work more in the summer than any time.
I say I'm busier in the summer than I am during the school year. I just get a nap around lunchtime.
Yeah.
Well, it's just those softball and baseball sports. It's like you guys have it during the summer where there's no school, so it's like you guys expect to have like 10-hour practices and stuff.
Hey, just wait. It's been in the works for a while now. Next year might be the year. Spring baseball.
I heard about that. I heard about it.
Track and baseball, softball are going to have to compete.
Yep. And because then they moved golf to the spring or fall. They'd have
Yep.
soccer and probably golf in the fall.
Yep.
And then tennis would stay spring.
Yep. Tennis would say spring.
And then it'd be tennis, baseball, softball, and track.
Because every other state does it pretty much. We're like the only one that doesn't.
Track and baseball.
Well, I was thinking of like crossover. We'll be good for softball. We don't have any crossover. The biggest one would be like Merced's tennis, Casey's soccer, but that'd be moving to the fall.
Yeah.
And she doesn't do a fall sport, so that works out great there. So like softball, we're pretty golden. This year, next year, yeah, we're fine.
It hurt those sports for our girls trying to compete with volleyball.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't really hurt us football wise. But yeah, I think Iowa's pretty much the very last state to have summer baseball and softball. And that's why we need to get Mark on here. Maybe we'll try and get Coach Erickson if he's free next Sunday. We'll have him talk
What
with
would
us.
you prefer?
He's a busy man, but with the union and association, like when's that gonna? We're the last state to have separated. When's that gonna come to an end?
Yeah.
Because if it does, the union needs to take it. Don't let Jared Chiswick in charge.
No. Well, they're not going to give up
Their cush jobs. So, Cherry Coach, thank you again. Like, share, all the above.
Thanks,
Thanks, guys. Roll Tigers.